head south to 14 Mile, and at some point, something would blow in the engine, and we'd be going about 65, and then we could go max out at like 35. So we would try and generate as much momentum as we could so it would carry us to 14.
Heather,
but it beat the hell out of walking.
Well, right. I mean, everybody had to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Heather?
My first car was a Grand Prix.
Okay.
I drove a lot of Pontiac products back in the day. Yeah.
Sure.
Was this when you were 16? You got the first car?
Yes.
John, same thing. You were 16?
So like I mentioned, we shared it.
Right.
It was my brother. So my brother was older.
Okay.
And it was already part of the family. Yes.
Yeah,
I was allowed to use it. Yes.
Yeah.
What was yours?
03 Honda Accord. My dad was like a Honda mechanic, so that's first car.
Yeah.
16 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Did he teach you how to fix it? No, he did it.
Shrug shoulders. They last a long time. It would have lasted longer. My brother ended up wrecking it.
Oh.
So,
Greg?
Hey, Kyle McCord. Good for you. My first car was a 1989 Pontiac Sunbird. Yes, literally a chick car because it was a hand-me-down from my sister.
Okay.
Hey, it beat the hell out of walking. Yes. Freedom.
Tom, do we want to know?
Yeah, they had cars back then.
That wasn't a horse and buggy?
Chrysler Cordoba.
Okay.
Do you know what that is?
No.
I'll look it
You
up.
got to look at it, man. Oh, my. It's like the Blues Brothers car almost. Like it was brown. It was so ugly.
Sweet.
My friends love that car so much. Many a memory in that.
Yep. Good times.
By the way, did you say you blew your engine on Big Beaver?
All right, we're going to talk about the Lions.
That's where it started.
Really?
Trying to create momentum.
We know the Lions are set at quarterback. Jared Goff got paid. Everybody's happy. Good quarterback. Chance to win a Super Bowl. The question is, knocking on wood, if anything were to happen, are you nervous with Hendon Hooker as the backup quarterback? And we'd like to present an alternate, an option for the Lions if you are feeling nervous. Is this a move they should make? It's next, 97.1.
The most democratic golf tournament in the country begins today. That's a Tin Cup quote, by the way. The U.S. Open's first groups went off of Pinehurst number 2 at 6:45 this morning. Tiger Woods went off at 7:30, and he's playing pretty well so far. Birdied the first hole, all pars after that, making some long putts as well. Currently at 1 under and 1 shot back of up-and-coming star Ludwig Oberg, who's at 2 under par and leading the Open very, very early. Seeing a lot of crooked numbers out there, too. Some doubles and triples as the course is playing very firm and very fast. Mark Hanna says that the Tigers simply need to be better right now, though he's not worried about the season slipping away because, hey, it's still early June. But they lost to the Nationals again last night, 7-5 at home, which gives Washington the series. Yeah, Reese Olson is in a slump, giving up 10 hits and 4 earned runs. Detroit and the Nats are going to wrap up their set with a matinee this afternoon at 1:10 p.m. right here on 97.1. Tom Brady's number 12 officially retired by the New England Patriots during a ceremony at Gillette Stadium. He was given a bright red jacket. Brady played there from 2000 to 2019, won 6 Super Bowls and 4 Super Bowl MVPs before earning 1 more of each in Tampa to end his career, though Brady did say that he is indeed a Patriot for life. In the NBA, the Mavericks' odds of winning became extremely minute. They're now down to the Celtics 3-0 after a 106-99 loss. NBA teams are 0-156 when in that deficit all time. From the Corewell Health Sports Desk, I'm Chris Villar. For more, go to 97.1 The Ticket and Odyssey.com.
Hungry for headlines. We're always looking for interesting Lions news. And this kind of feels like spring training camp, the same thing, where it's all about buzz and storylines, and this guy's in the best shape of his life. And we've read articles, hey, Jack Campbell, breakout candidate. Brian Branch, year 2 leap. Even Levi Onwuzurike, who hasn't done much of anything, got some love from Dan Campbell last week about, hey, he's starting to come along. There were articles written about Hendon Hooker and about where he's at. And nothing out of the ordinary, right? He's a young player that needs to get some reps under his belt. is that a bad combination for a team chasing a Super Bowl? Would they be wise to add a more proven veteran to the mix where Hendon Hooker can still get the majority of the reps with the twos in practice, play the majority of snaps in the preseason? But John, how comfortable would you feel if he had to come in a pinch knowing what's at stake? And that's why we would like to throw a name out to people and gauge the interest in former Tennessee Titan quarterback Ryan Tannehill. Still unsigned, once quarterbacked a team to a 1 seed, game manager. You've got a good O-line, good run game. Get the ball out, move the sticks, keep you afloat. As opposed to the unknown with a rookie quarterback who has not played an NFL game or an NFL preseason game. Could you have a QB room that also includes Ryan Tannehill as more of the emergency break glass if necessary quarterback?
So it depends on what type of insurance policy you're comfortable with. Do you want, to insure everybody else around you, or are you going to insure the driver, everybody in that vehicle for, replacement costs? That's what you're talking about. It's the unsureness of what Hendon Hooker will be. They drafted him in the 3rd round knowing that he had this injury. They drafted him in the 3rd round and he was available because of the injury. He was trending to be, I don't know if he would have been or not, a 1st-round pick. So you might have a 1st-round talent. We see a number of 1st-round quarterbacks that never do anything. But they're not expecting him to do much, just simply come in, get him out of a game. Nobody knows the answer to that question. We won't know really until we see him in training camp, and we won't know even more until we see him in preseason games. But by that point, all of your other good options are going to be gobbled up.
Yeah, then it's the David Blaus of the world, and no thank you. So I would like them to be proactive here. I don't see much of a downside. I don't think it would compromise Hooker's development leading into the season, but it would give you a better option. I am a little nervous with a team that's trying to chase the Super Bowl that they would be forced to plug in a quarterback who has no experience.
Right, and we'll start with the premise that if your starting quarterback goes down week 1 and is done for the year, you're done.
Yeah.
Right? You're not going to bring in Ryan Tannehill and think he's going to lead you to the Super Bowl.
You're not winning 13 games and playoff games
14.
and all. Yeah, well, if you're you.
Right, and so we all understand that. We're not talking about coming in for and winning 8 games. We're just simply, do you have somebody that can get you out of a game, or do you have somebody that could span the stretch of 1, maybe 2 weeks? That's where you're looking at, okay, well, can we steal a game against a lesser opponent? And it's all about timing. Does it happen at the right time, against the right opponent? But what type of insurance policy do you want? Do you want to have the premium insurance? That's Ryan Tannehill. Do you want to have, kind of the cut rate car insurance? That right now, and I don't mean this as a detriment to Hendon Hooker or what he might be, but that's what you would be purchasing if you are going into it with him as your number 1 backup quarterback, because he is unproven.
Yeah, I think there's plenty of upside to Hendon Hooker. I have no issue with the pick, even knowing that they paid Jared Goff, knowing that there is the upside at the backup position. The question is, with all that's at stake, are you not better off securing the room? And maybe this feels a little like overkill because you have a good O-line. Goff should stay healthy. Hendon Hooker should progress.
You don't ever want to use your insurance.
Right. Maybe it sounds like a little bit of a doomsday prepper, right? Well, why do we need 3 quarterbacks? Well, I don't know if you have a reliable QB2 yet. You certainly couldn't tell me definitively that you believe that Hendon Hooker could step in right now. It's June. He hasn't done it yet. Why not? And I know they have Nate Sudfeld, but come on. That would be the replacement. You'd replace Sudfeld with Tannehill.
The only reason he's still here is because he got hurt at the right time.
Right. Is this a dumb idea, or is this actually something the Lions should look into? Because I think when you're this close to a Super Bowl, you can't leave any stone unturned. It's why we've talked about kicker competitions.
Yeah.
I mean, it's why we've highlighted Brad Holmes' attention to detail with special teams. Think about it. They brought back a special teams ace. They prioritized paying a special teams ace in Reeves-Maybin.
Yeah.
Jalen Reeves-Maybin.
They drafted one.
In
Sione Vaki.
Yeah, the idea is he could be used in a variety of ways on kick coverage, kick returns, the new kickoff rules. They care about the details. They care about little special teams note, little kicking, the competition. They brought in Turner to compete with Badgley. We've talked about Bates from the UFL. Mm-hmm. Backup quarterback. Now, if they don't, it's because they do believe Hendon Hooker can come in for a couple games, keep him afloat, lead a couple drives, win those games. I don't know how you could make that statement today.
Well, you can't with any reliability because you haven't seen him in those situations. And it's not a shot on Hendon Hooker It's just simply where they are. What happened last year? We were going into it with, basically Sudfeld as your backup. He didn't perform well in the preseason, ended up getting hurt, but Teddy Bridgewater was out there, and we had talked about it all summer long. What are you going to do with the backup? And as every other backup quarterback, qualified backup quarterback, was being taken off the market, you kept thinking, all right, at some point you're going to do it. What are you going to do it? What is the holdup? Because if you have those expectations, we've heard about it from Sheila, we've heard about it from Brad Holmes, we heard about it from Dan Campbell, and certainly we've heard about it from the players. The expectations is a Super Bowl. You start looking at all the minutia. You mentioned it, the kicker, the backup quarterback. Did they do enough up front on defense versus in the secondary? All of these different things. Is there enough depth on the offensive line? If Decker goes down, you move Sewell over. Do you have somebody you could step in at right tackle? All of these different questions are the questions that you have the benefit, the luxury of asking versus where the Lions were all the way up until 2 years ago, where it was, do we have a quarterback? Do we have a cornerstone piece? Can we build an offensive line? All of those things used to be the conversation. Now it is all of the little details that are going to make the difference. How do you get over the hump? Is a reliable backup quarterback the key piece that will get you over the hump because it secures you the number one seed in the playoffs?
Yeah, I hope it doesn't matter at all, to be clear. I hope this is completely irrelevant. You're stocking your freezer full of preservatives that you never have to use because the end of the world doesn't come, and you're not put in the position where your franchise quarterback is shelved for any meaningful amount of time. But I look at Kansas City, right, the gold standard back-to-back Super Bowl champs. Chet Henne had to help them out in a pinch in a playoff game, and he's retired. Their backup is Carson Wentz. And I know Carson Wentz isn't like a franchise guy anymore, but their thought was we still want to have someone in a pinch.
Tannehill's not a franchise guy anymore.
No.
But he can be a guy that can help you in a pinch, and he's got the experience.
Right. That's the key. Wentz has experience. And the Rams, they found a home for Jimmy Garoppolo. Again, we know he's limited. He's a game manager, but as a backup quarterback with a team that's got some good receivers and a good offensive line, if you had to keep him afloat,
and their question
Rams are a playoff
is,
team. Yeah.
Right, and their question is it going to be him, Garoppolo, or is it going to be Stetson Bennett?
But that could be the same dynamic you have here where you go proven guy,
other teams are going
veteran,
through this.
And young guy. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a blueprint for this, especially with the fact that teams can carry the three quarterbacks now and get creative with the emergency quarterback on game day.
Which I think was the Lions' suggestion.
It was. So this suggestion, Ryan Tannehill or somebody else, maybe we're missing another unsigned backup quarterback, or maybe you're just Team Hendon Hooker all the way. They drafted him for a reason. He's fully healthy. He's going to get the bulk of the reps. For better or worse, he is the guy if anything happens to Jared Goff this season. 248-539-9797.
And so this is the first time that he is seeing things at a little bit faster pace, and that's Hendon Hooker. Because last year he wasn't even able to be around. And I like the fact that he had a year to just sit, learn, soak it all in. How much of that was absorbed, we're going to start to find out. There's going to be, as a young quarterback is going to do, things that he does well and things that he does poorly and even awful at times that needs to learn from. And then when you get into training camp, the speed is going to pick up. The speed of the defense. Everything is going to be faster. You're still going to be wearing the red jersey. You're not going to get hit, but it's that next level of progression. And then you actually do get a chance to play in a preseason game. And again, it is the threat of actually being hit now and escaping the pocket, which is one thing that we think he can do. If he doesn't process things, and nobody's expecting him to process like Jared Goff. But if you don't and you get in trouble, he does have the ability to extend plays. And now it becomes what is he and what does he do when he's outside the pocket, when he's under duress? Does he do stupid things like throw it back across the formation? Or can he make a good decision of, I'm going to run out of bounds, nothing there, I'm going to go ahead and take the sack? Or can he find somebody downfield? Those things, we don't know the answer to those questions. We know that we think he can do some of those things, but we don't know at what level.
Texters jumping in on this. Obviously, it depends on what you could sign Tannehill for, but if the price is reasonable, I would be all for it. He would be the only, he'd be the guy with the minimal drop-off from Jared Goff, skill set-wise.
Yeah.
Play-action passer, pocket guy, similar styles.
So let me throw some numbers at you and our listeners. 2 for 15 or one, if you don't want to, you say, we're not going to block Hendon Hooker for next year, or it's one for, let's say, 8 to 9.
Okay. They have the cap space. They've been sitting on a reserve, rainy day fund. Texter says, absolutely not, guys. This is nothing. Hendon Hooker was projected as a first-round pick and a Heisman favorite. Let him show his talent. You never know. He might be better than Goff.
Oh, please. Come on.
John, that's what it's right here.
Stop it.
Last one.
You don't have to read it, Mr. Burgundy.
The thing that perplexes me about drafting Hooker is the fit in this offense. Square peg, round hole. It's a rhythm and timing offense that Goff excels in. You would want an offense tailored around Hendon Hooker, similar to what the Eagles and Ravens have done with their quarterbacks. He'd be a better backup in those offenses as opposed to this one.
I think he can operate at a high efficiency in this offense because he's going to – we talked about Goff-proofing this offense. Mm-hmm. So insert an inexperienced quarterback, and you have Amon-Ra St. Brown, who has the unique ability to find open spaces and get open. You have – and one thing that we know about Hendon Hooker, he's got a big arm. All right, so now all of a sudden J-Mo becomes an option downfield. You've got other options in Laporta as a nice, easy outlet. You've got Jahmyr Gibbs coming out of the backfield. Yep. You've got an offensive line that will protect you and allow you the time to process. I don't buy into just because he's a mobile quarterback, he can't operate in this offense. That's crap.
No, it should just be a plus that he's mobile because every single quarterback should want to play in an offense that wins up front, gives you down and distance, seconds and shorts, thirds and shorts, play action pass, the Ben Johnson offense, the schemes. Any quarterback would like to play in Detroit. I think Hendon Hooker, Jared Goff certainly has benefited from it. Hendon Hooker would benefit from it. Ryan Tannehill would benefit from it. The question is just how much of this has got you nervous, the idea that they would walk into the season with an unproven backup quarterback knowing they're chasing a Super Bowl. Speaking of the hype for the upcoming season, Chris Spielman, I don't feel like he goes out of his way to hype guys up. He's pretty straightforward and honest, right? He's not a BSer. He had a pretty bold statement about one Detroit Lion who could have a breakout season. We'll get to that coming up next. It's 97.1.
Hey, the NBA Finals are here, and don't blink because they may be gone quick. FanDuel's giving you a chance to win right alongside the champions right now. And I mentioned it, don't miss it. The Mavs are down 0-3. New customers get $200 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. So step up to the plate. Now's the time to do it. New customers, you're going to get $200 in bonus bets with a $5 winning bet. That's $200 to use on same-game parlays, live bets, and so much more. There's no better place to bet all the finals action than America's #1 sportsbook. Just go to FanDuel.com/Jansen to get started and take a shot at an extra $200. That's FanDuel.com/Jansen. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA and 97.1 The Ticket. Must be 21 or over and present in Michigan. First online real money wager. Only $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problems? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hear from Tiger manager A.J. Hinch coming up at 9:35. Is he seeing enough progress with this baseball team? Tigers lost last night. They got a day game today. Looks like a little drizzle right now. Shouldn't be raining by 1 o'clock.
What's supposed to be raining now?
You think there's a chance they get rained out later today?
No.
Oh, okay,
no.
good.
No, that's not what I meant. It's just it wasn't supposed to be raining now.
Okay.
And yet it is.
They got a chance to hit Patrick Corbin, who's one of the worst pitchers in baseball. So, chance to avoid the sweep today for the Tigers. Last night in the NBA, Luka and the Mavericks fall into an 0-3 hole. Series over, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not gonna sit there and hope for something that's never happened before.
Boston too good. They're moving the ball offensively, defensively. They rotate. They're a team. They're the better team. They've been the better team. Luka tried to will the team. He's also kind of a whiner, and he doesn't play enough defense. And they're just not ready. They're not good enough.
No, Kyrie disappeared for the first 2 games. Showed up yesterday, but a little bit too late.
On the subject of the Lions, we brought up Ryan Tannehill as an option to consider for this team. Wanted to gauge the nervous energy around the idea of Hendon Hooker being your backup quarterback in a Super Bowl or bust season. Or fine, don't call it Super Bowl or bust, but a season with Super Bowl aspirations. He's a guy being talked about in camp. No shortage of guys people are looking to see take a leap this season. One of them's Brian Branch. Now, Chris Spielman was on a podcast with his brother, and he got into talking about Brian Branch in the pre-draft, but he also forecasted a little bit of what's to come for Brian Branch. Again, that's the First Pick podcast. One of Brad Holmes' best draft picks. He's drafted multiple All-Pros.
Yeah.
So, John, do you think an All-Pro is in the cards for Brian Branch?
Certainly. And the one thing that may prevent that from happening is what Chris Spielman just said. What's his position? What's his position for All-Pro going to be? Is he going to be a safety? Well, he also plays nickel. Well, is he going to be a nickel? No, well, he also plays safety and corner. Is he going to be a corner? Like he's going to play multiple positions. There's no all-pro position for stud football player. You wish there was, and maybe the players and the coaches and those that select the all-pros will identify that and say, you know what, I don't care that he's not just a safety. We're going to put him in as an all-pro as a safety or as a nickel, whatever it might be. That's going to be something, and this is where the pressure is put on Aaron Glenn. When you have a weapon like that, find creative, different ways to utilize him, develop him, and make him better, but make your defense better. That's the key.
He was my favorite pick in last year's draft. I certainly didn't love a running back in the first round. I'll forever own that. Gibbs was much better than I thought, and he just needs to maintain it for that pick to pay off. But I love the Branch pick from day one. He's an instinctive football player. They put a lot on his plate at Alabama, and I love that at the NFL level now, they're going to keep putting more on his plate, saying, oh, he's going to play safety some this year. We're going to find ways, even if it means he has to know multiple positions. We trust that we can put more on this guy's plate because he can read, react, help in the run game, cover down the field, jar the ball loose. He's everywhere you want him to be. We'll find a way to put him on the field. Yeah, I think he's got all-pro upside, absolutely.
And I didn't see him like I saw Laporta. I love that pick, and it was simply because, and the Jack Campbell pick, because in preparing to call that game and watching what Laporta was, I was scared to death. And even you go back to, was it 21, the first Big Ten championship game that Michigan played in, scared to death of Laporta because of his ability to continually make plays. And we saw it last year.
We'll get to A.J. Hinch coming up at 9:35. First, Heather with the news.
Well, a Wayne County juvenile court judge got in some trouble at the airport recently at DTW. She was busted by TSA attempting to bring a firearm through the airport. Can't do that.
It was there,
yeah, she was ticketed and released. She was on her way to a vacation destination, according to her attorney. And like I said, she was ticketed and then
Released.
So can't do that. Got to do it properly if you're going to do that.
Yes.
A man has died after he was attacked and robbed while walking in Oakland County. It happened last month, May 30th, in the area of Telegraph and Franklin Roads in Southfield. This 80-year-old man was out walking when another person just attacked and robbed him. He was taken to the hospital and then died from his injuries on Monday. So sad. The attacker was identified and is in police
custody. Good.
Yes, thankfully, yes. Joey Chestnut and his longtime nemesis, Kobayashi, they're going head to head in this hot dog eating contest. Of course, we know it's not going to be part of the big usual 4th of July day events. It's going to be a Labor Day extravaganza, and it's a showdown that's been 15 years in the making. So the last time they competed was in 2009. Chestnut won. So now, I guess just weeks ago, Kobayashi said, I'm retiring. But he's saying,
due to health reasons.
I'm only going to retire, though. There's some unfinished business. I have to face Joey Chestnut one more time.
Putting it all on the line.
Yeah, it's going to air live on Netflix.
So instead of at the 4th of July, kind of the seminal moment of the summer, we get the final
moment of the summer.
Final moments of the summer, years in the making, two titans in competitive eating. This is everything you've ever. This is Magic and Bird, bringing it back for one more time. This is like, we didn't get to see LeBron and Kobe in the NBA Finals again. This is what we want. This is way better than the Nathan's contest.
For sure.
A lot of wieners.
They're going head to head.
That's true.
Wiener to wiener. Toe to toe. Showdown.
Don't say that. Yeah, that's
not what I meant.
I heard it too, John. I did hear it too. All right, so I'm going to try this story again and see where this one goes. There was a pair of camels that escaped in Cedar Point. They were just walking around. Apparently, there's a petting zoo there, the barnyard. They got out somehow. There is an investigation on going to see how these two camels got loose, but they were walking around. They approached some lockers by the Millennium Force, kind of intimidated a woman in an electric wheelchair.
Oh.
And they were on video. Just walking. I think they were scared.
Did she race them?
I don't think she raced them, but they were like jumping around in front of her.
But they're not like, it's not like a tiger got loose. Like, you don't have to fear for your safety with a camel, right?
No, but it's a big animal.
It's a wild animal. It's not like a, a domesticated cat.
You could
all
become
the animals that can
camel
get out.
toe jam.
Oh, okay, John. Okay.
I figured I would try it one more time. This story, man, it gave me some chills when I was reading some quotes. Have you heard about this dad in Oregon who drugged a 12-year-old girl, well, a couple of them, at his daughter's sleepover?
I saw the headline.
It's horrendous. He was sentenced to 2 years in prison, and during his sentencing, he claims that he only put sedatives in the girls' drinks because he wanted them to get a good night's sleep. He wanted them to go to bed. He was anxious that they were up past 11, and he wanted to make sure they were well rested for the next day, right? So he was in court on Monday. He did apologize for his actions, and then he also claimed that his whole life was destroyed because of this. And when you go on and you read these girls' accounts of what happened, there was one girl, the only reason that he was actually caught is because one of the girls that drank the drink didn't actually fall asleep, but she knew something was wrong and sent this urgent text message to her mom saying, you need to come get me. Please, please come pick me up. This is an emergency. She didn't feel safe, she said. And now they testified at his sentencing and basically said, you're supposed to grow up trusting adults, right?
Right. Yep.
As a child. And now our whole lives are changed because now we don't have trust in adults and we're scared to do things we shouldn't be scared to do.
You would think going to a sleepover with your friends, you'd be in a
Everyone
safe
does
place.
it, right? Oh my gosh.
And I don't even get what's he thinking? They're going to go to sleep at some point. What are you thinking that you need to drug them?
Yeah.
That's what you do at sleepovers. You stay up
late.
And
Yeah.
guess what? Kids stay up late and they wake up at the same time every day, no matter how much sleep they got.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, it's disgusting. Finally, the record has been set for the most expensive vintage toy ever. An original Star Wars Boba Fett action figure from 1979 just sold at auction for $525,000. Now, it's super exciting. And if you have old action figures, you might be even more excited to think, I've got this super expensive thing hanging out in my attic. But most likely you don't, because this was actually an original prototype that never was sold to the public. So only a select few people have something like this.
Yeah.
Very rare.
Yeah.
Heather with the news. AJ Hinch is next. Some thoughts on Reese Olson, who's got 3 rough starts in a row. The development of his team. Is he seeing enough progress? Tarik Skubal for MVP. All things we get to with AJ next. It's 97.1.
Hey, when it comes to managing your finances, you need a bank that gets you and is genuinely interested in your success. That's why I bank with First Merchants Bank. Whether it's your business banking or day-to-day personal banking, First Merchants Bank is 100% interested in helping you prosper. First Merchants bankers are attentive. It's a great trait for them. They take the time to sit down with you, ask you questions, get to know you, and then they're going to work with you to build a plan, a financial plan that fits your exact situation. And when you make the switch to First Merchants Bank, you're also going to get access to their highly rated mobile banking app with innovative personal finance tools. Plus, they're deeply connected to the community's needs because it's their community too. They understand it, and they volunteer and donate on a regular basis to local causes to ensure that we all prosper together. This is the difference of 100% interest in you. For a better banking experience, visit firstmerchants.com. That's firstmerchants.com. First Merchants Bank, helping you prosper. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. The summer driving season is upon us once again. The combination of increased traffic, big trucks, motorcyclists, and construction all contribute to the fact that summertime in Michigan has more accidents than any other season of the year. If you've been injured in an accident, injury attorney David Feminino and his team are ready to help you right now, and David will never take a fee until he wins your case. You can speak with David personally right now by calling him at 855-65-CRASH, or you can go to his website, getdavidgetpaid.com. That number again, 855-65-CRASH, or on the web at getdavidgetpaid.com.
Dan Dickerson's call. Tigers look to avoid the sweep today against the Washington Nationals. 110-97 won the ticket. We just had AJ Hinch on. We're back and forth there at the end. I think that's healthy.
Sure.
And I get his point about, hey, Colt Keith's got to make mistakes to learn. We all learn through doing. I fully subscribe to it. My only issue is when we invoke progress, right, which is what I've been asking for, like show me signs of progress. The fact that he's playing alone is not progress. You have to play well. You have to apply what you're learning and start playing not just alone, but playing well. Colt Keith on the season has a 544 OPS. I get it, offense is down in baseball. He would be the worst qualified hitter. That's not an excuse that offense is down, that you're the worst qualified hitter in baseball if you had the ABs. And then if you look at the flip side, defensively, he's a -5 defensive run saved. Only 2 second basemen are worse in all of baseball. So he's playing. It doesn't mean it's progress.
Right. And for a player like Colt Keith, he brought up the fact that his May was good.
Yes.
Right. So he adjusted to major league pitching. And now on the flip side, the major league pitchers have adjusted to him.
2 of 27 in June.
Yeah, not good. And so now he has to be able to find a way to, again, adjust. And this is going to be something that he'll battle through his entire career. But once you figure out, okay, this is how pitchers are going to approach me. They understand my weaknesses. They understand my blind spots and all the weaknesses that I may have. I've got to start filling in those gaps of how do I adjust and still be able to get on base and make contact.
You want the splits because they're jarring. April, well, you kind of know, April was bad. 163. May, 342.
Yeah, good May.
With an OPS over 800, 881. June, it's down to 074. I mean, the extremes.
Right.
And then that's AJ's point. Welcome to developing a baseball player. The issue would be like there's not many examples of guys developed. Past tense, there's a lot of developing, which means a lot of struggling, which means we aren't seeing progress, which means they're pacing for the same season as last year. And for a team that didn't do very much at the end of last year, kind of makes sense. Kind of feels like they signed up for this, a season without progress.
And when you talk about developed, and yes, Colt Keith is developing, but you don't have anybody who really has developed. And on the flip side, you have some failure. You have
Torque's in the minors.
Meadows is in the minors. Torque is in the minors. And that's where you're like, okay, well, you didn't expect to hit on every single one of them. And that, as June or July or the All-Star break rolls around, all of a sudden, hey, the train is rolling down the tracks. But you did expect to hit on one, maybe two.
What's the Carpenter effect here at all?
I think it's
that
noticeable.
does go along with his June downturn. So are they pitching him differently? With
Maybe
the
one less left-hander and
not as protected.
Cascading effect in the lineup. I know it seems like even Vierling had the walk-off, but he's tailed slightly. That'd be nitpicky.
Vierling hit the leadoff home run yesterday.
Yeah.
But he's the guy that continues to be brought up as an example of them doing things right. This was not a homegrown guy. And I think at the end of the day, he's a utility guy, right? I mean, this isn't a cornerstone player. So it is a little, I guess, concerning that he is one of the few examples they point to. Perez, fine. Perez is up through the system, multi-position, switch hitter. I think he's a guy I would say is a surprise, developing positively this season.
I think the thing is with Keith is, though, you can't just take the last 27. 27 bats is a pretty small sample size.
Can I take the whole season?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Yes, and he's kind of where a first-year player often is in this league. And
the worst hitter in baseball?
They got to get Jim, I know you've got to give this you got to give this a month now. You mentioned about sending him down.
I will promise to do this. I will talk about the team that day. I will not promise to talk about the team a month from now until I see him. All I can do is talk about what he has done today. He is statistically, if he qualified, they haven't even got him enough at-bats to qualify, the worst hitter in baseball. I will not spin it another way. If he hits better, I won't need to spin it another way. He'll have earned positive praise.
We saw him hit well for a whole month, okay? So you've got to let this play out just a little bit longer with him. 59 games into a career.
No, I am.
He's not some super highly praised prospect.
Well, he's somebody that they coveted and paid.
Yeah, but he's not a grade A. He is not a grade A like the Jackson Holidays of the world and stuff like that. And
Sure.
who knows if he turns out?
But you're saying I have to let it play out. I am. I will talk about it tomorrow. If he hits
Well,
3 home
but-
runs today, I'll talk about it tomorrow. If he hits 5 home runs this month, I'll talk about it at the end of the month. I'm just going to talk as we do this. We do the show every day. We don't get to wait until July to reflect on Cole Keith. We talk about the team today. And
Yeah.
today he hasn't been good enough. His numbers are worse than Torkelson's.
But he's not the worst in baseball.
What do you mean? Oh, because of Baez? Because of his
Yeah.
teammate? Because of his teammate?
Just want to make sure that we're clear. I know words matter.
Yes.
And you said he was the worst.
If he qualified. And
If he qualified.
Baez apparently doesn't qualify either. I looked at OPS on Major League Baseball stats.com
Yes. OPS, Javi is.
for something. Yeah, it's
Yes.
terrible.
Yes. About 100 points less.
Chance-
90 to be exact.
You want positivity, chance to win today. Okay. We've been doing this for a while, just trying to set a little bit of a runway for this team. We said, can you get 5 games over 500? Okay, well, they're 3 under. Can you take advantage of some teams with losing records on the upcoming schedule? They're 0-2 on this stretch. Get the win today, avoid the sweep, take advantage of a bad pitcher and Patrick Corbin. Then you go to Houston. Right?
And you go to
then the
Houston
White
and you've
Sox,
got
right?
Skubal and Flaherty
Yes.
pitching when you're down in Houston.
Yes. Come on now.
Win a series.
Come on.
And that's all I said. I didn't ask him. The only one I asked him to sweep is the White Sox, which happens to be the only sweep that they have this season is against the Chicago White Sox to start the season.
Yeah.
But win a series against the Nationals. That's out the window. Win a series against the Astros. That's a possibility, especially since you have Skubal and Flaherty pitching the first 2 matchups.
Right. And there's always the backdrop of, you talk about what's going to play out, the deadline. And I think all the, whether it's The Athletic or ESPN, these sites don't really know what to do with the Tigers. They're kind of always placed in that like shoulder shrug of a place. Like if they could win 4 of the next 5, you can make a case, hold on to the dudes and try to hang into a wild card race and try to show signs of life. If they don't, you can make the case you're drifting further and further out of this wild card picture.
Yep.
You're going to be forced to do what nobody wants to do at the deadline.
Sell.
Pull the parachute and sell. Right.
Without a lot of pieces to sell.
Well,
but
yeah.
really only one.
Well, it depends how thorough you want to be. I mean, is Canna a guy who a contender would want for ABs if it goes that way?
Right.
Gio Urshela, situational, maybe. Those would be pieces if they're forced to sell, if
Yeah.
they don't go on some kind of run at some point here. Gator is coming to the studio.
Hello.
Not out at Gate A.
No, apparently weather forced us.
The wind
to call
and
an audible.
rain and
Yeah.
all that stuff.
Yeah.
So what's up?
I guess I have a different take. It doesn't matter to me if the Tigers are firmly in a wild card or not. You need to move those pieces that are free agents at the end of the year. To me, nothing against, Mark Canna and Gio Urshela and
So if they were in a
Jack
playoff
Flaherty.
spot.
Yeah, because, I guess the way I look at it with Flaherty in particular is that if I'm going to trade Jack Flaherty away, I might actually make the team better because the player I get in return should be somebody from my lineup
Yeah,
that I can control for years, and he should be somebody who's going to be an improvement over what I have.
they would call that selling to buy. I think that's a good idea.
And the other part of it is that, and I'm still hoping on this, although we haven't heard an update in forever, but, Jackson Jobe was recovering from a hamstring, and it's been a while, but it was supposed to be back shortly. Like any second, I'm waiting to hear that he's making a rehab stint and get right back up to speed. So by the time that you're ready to trade Flaherty, is Jobe already back and has like 4 starts under his belt, and is he ready to make the jump?
All the
Because
way
he
up.
was unhittable for his last 32 hitters or something
Yeah.
like that. So it's that's the kind of move I'm looking to make. And then the other guys, it's I like that Canna gets on base, but what's his ceiling? It's nothing special.
It's limited, yeah.
I might be less inclined to move Urshela, except for the fact that he plays a position that Chase Young plays. And Chase Young is mashing the ball at AAA. He's got 11 home runs, 40 RBIs, and OPS of 932 or something. So, there are reasons why I'm willing to move on from guys, even if they're in that playoff push, because then you have to ask yourself realistically, how good is this team? You said the other day something about any good. You said, are they any good? Are they any good? And I was asking myself, what does any good mean?
It's a good
though?
question.
Is any good to me means, good enough to make the playoffs, but probably not good enough to make a run in the playoffs, even though you might have at least one guy in the rotation that's really good.
Really, really good.
Really,
what do you
really
guys got coming up?
We have an update on one of the biggest stories in sports to open up. We have an update on one of the biggest stories in sports to open up the show. And we will get to that right out of the gate.
Exciting stuff. Carson Anderson next, 97.1.
Hello and welcome to the Carson Anderson program on a Thursday. Tiger baseball this afternoon. We were supposed to be down there, but between the wind and the rain, they decided it might make for a sketch broadcast. So here we are in studio. And welcome those of you on the stream, the Odyssey app. Download for your mobile device today. AUDACY. We love those that stream the show. You can also stream to our website, 971theticket.com. And stream a video, twitch.tv. Search up 971theticket. And on YouTube, youtube.com, same thing. Search up 971 The Ticket. Bam, there we are. Gator, how are you today?
We are. I'm okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought it was going to be a little prickly today.
Why is that?
Because the Tigers have lost, all these
No.
games in a row here and come back last night. I was not happy with last night's game at all. It's a Reese Olson meltdown again. He gives up 10 hits and gives up the runs, and then the team comes back in the eighth inning, makes it 5-4, runner on second, and nobody out. And I'm like, oh my God, they're going to come back. No, not so much. Not so much. Wenzel Perez smoked the ball, but it was on a line drive, a diving line drive to the left fielder, and he makes a catch at his shin. And then Malloy strikes out. In one of the, I'm not mad at Malloy necessarily. Here's what it is. This is one of my pet peeves in baseball. And I recognize hitting a baseball might be the most difficult thing to do in sports. I get it. But, and Lord knows I didn't play all that high of a level, okay? I was a terrible hitter in particular, mostly because I was afraid of getting hit. But you're always taught with two strikes, okay, protect the plate because you don't want to strike out. You got to protect the plate. Shorten your swing, protect the plate, do what you can. When someone takes, and it's not just him, it's anybody that does this in baseball, and it's just a pet peeve. When someone takes a called third strike, I get so upset. And it may be irrational to a degree, or maybe it's rational to a degree. but it bothers me to no end because it says to me that there was no effort in doing the rule number one, which is protect the plate. Like if it's some giant bender that you just never saw coming, okay, I guess, because you thought it was going to be way outside and it comes back inside. But if you're just frozen or you think you're trying to judge, I thought it wasn't going to be a strike, and it's like, it's a fastball in the outside corner. It's close enough, swing. It's just a pet peeve of mine.
Javi Baez never takes called strikes. Right?
No, he doesn't.
Do you think you might be doing the I'm being a regular guy, it's way harder than you think it is thing?
Do I think that what?
I think you might be guilty of it's way harder
I
than...
thought one of the first things I said was I recognize this is the hardest thing to do in sports is hit a baseball. I get that.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying when somebody takes a called third strike, what are the reasons you take that called third strike? You think it's not there.
You're fooled.
Right. I mean, but that's what bothers me. It's a pet peeve. If it's close enough, I'm hoping it's not going to be a strike, but, protect the plate, I guess. Anyway, that's it. It's just it's a pet peeve. I'm not terribly angry at Malloy. I'm angry at the situation. And that was out number 2. And then Carson Kelly popped up for out number 3. I mean, you got a runner on second, nobody out in a 1-run game where you're rallying like crazy, and then you don't do it. And then it doesn't matter anyway because Will Vest comes in and, doesn't get the job done in the 9th inning. And the fielding was atrocious again last night. It's another night with more than one error.
You'll be
so
okay.
maybe I am a little prickly.
Yeah, I think so. So as we predicted, sure enough, Joey Chestnut and Kobayashi are indeed going to face off against one another in a hot dog eating contest on, was it Labor Day? Is it when they scheduled it for? So Labor Day.
That weekend, yeah.
And there's a lot of feedback. First of all, a lot of people saying we called it, and we did. We talked about it yesterday. It was the biggest off-season and Major League eating history with Kobayashi announcing his retirement, and then Joey Chestnut saying he's out, or being told he's out of the Nathan's hot dog eating contest due to his contract with Impossible Dogs. And we said one of the more predictable things that's going to happen is expect these two to make a glorious return. This is all part of a grand conspiracy.
It's one thing, Doug, if you go ahead and say that, you think that those two are going to go at it at some point in the future.
Yep.
It's another thing if you say not only are they going to go at it in the future, but it's going to be Labor Day weekend. But it's another thing if you say they're going to go at it one-on-one over Labor Day weekend, and it's going to be available on Netflix.
I mean, it was absolutely called in every way.
We called the shot all the way down.
Now, we do have a place where we differ, and that is whether or not Joey Chestnut will actually eat in the Nathan's hot dog eating contest. I'm not sure that this information impacts that in any way. Because right now, dude in the straw hat is realizing that his event is flirting with complete and total irrelevance.
Yeah.
Not only is Chestnut going to eat again, he's going to eat against the one other compelling figure in the sport, in Kobayashi. And I think Nathan's is going to see the writing on the wall that they might be done. In fact, if Kobayashi and Chestnut want to ever do this again, they may as well do it on July 4th and wipe out Nathan's and just have a mano-a-mano showdown, and the Nathan's hot dog eating contest, for all intents and purposes, would be over. And they're going to have to look to gimmick like bringing Caitlin Clark or something. But at the end of the day, I think Nathan's will respond, and I remain with great resolve that I will not be eating a hot dog as we made our bet.
Yeah, right. You made a mistake. You used the word think instead of hope.
Yeah.
That's your mistake.
I think.
No, you hope.
Yeah. Well, do you expect that Nathan's is like, cool, we'll go on without you?
No, I think they made a horrible mistake, and now that I don't think they can back it up. I mean, now that they've announced this, I mean, if you're Joey Chestnut, now you've got him by the short hairs. You can say, oh, you want me back? Oh, okay, well, it's going to cost you. It's going to cost you. Because he and Kobayashi can both say, well, look, we're training for our big event, the multi-million-dollar event coming up in September there.
end of the day, I'm still confident I will win the bet. If people miss the bet
Confident,
was
huh?
Yep. The bet was that if Joey Chestnut eats in the Nathan's hot dog eating contest, Gator has to eat a veggie dog live on the air. And if he does not eat in the Nathan's hot dog eating contest, I have to eat a real hot dog on the air, and I haven't had one in over 25 years.
That's right.
And figured I would pretty much take that to the grave. But no, I will. I'll eat a dog if I lose the bet. Kang, do you think this news? Do you think Nathan's responds and gets Joey Chestnut back, or do you think I'm in trouble?
First of all, I love the confidence, Doug, because I mean you have nothing to lose here. Remain confident, if not even more confidence. I mean that was on the line no matter what. It doesn't sway anything. As far as my belief after this news yesterday, I think the scales have slightly tilted towards Gators' favor. I think if I were a betting man, I would say, okay, I feel more strongly about Gator winning this bet now. But we still got time, Doug. You still have a window for sure. Nothing is over. But I like your confidence.
I have great resolve that I will come out of this one without eating a hot dog.
Positive thinking, man.
Yep. Dude with a straw hat, please come through.
We should probably get him on the air.
We probably should.
Yeah.
We don't do many interviews.
Dude with a
Goff
straw
and
hat.
I think it's George Shea. Goff and George Shea. That's it. All right, 248-539-9797. NBA Finals, Boston move up 3-0. Edmonton is trying to keep from falling behind 3-0 tonight. There's some NHL trade stuff to get to. Note on our quarterback that we need to discuss. We mentioned the Tigers game, the best of what A.J. Hinch told the morning show, but something happened a couple nights ago in Major League Baseball, and we want to get into it next. We will do that today at 10:18 here on Carson Anderson on 97.1 The Ticket. Hey, FanDuel wants you to join in on all the carnage, all the crazy shots, and all the major action this week at Pinehurst. Right now, all customers get a profit boost every round of the U.S. Open. That means you can boost your outright winnings, your longest drive bets, and so much more. Plus, bet on finishing position to get paid in full for ties. You won't see that at any other sportsbook. So today, for instance, I use the profit boost and put my dollar down on Rory, and I'll get 25% more if Rory finishes in the top 10 today, just today's round. So do what you want to do, but check it out. Go to FanDuel.com/Doug to get started and take advantage of your profit boost each and every round at Pinehurst. Must be 21 or older and present in Michigan. Option opt-in required, Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problems? Call 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help. Doug Carr, Scott Anderson, 97.1 The Ticket. Open lines, 248-539-9797. Tiger fans out there, if you want to vent a little bit, we're here for you. Give us a call. Losing 7-5 last night to the Nationals. Boston up 3-0. Dallas is likely done over there. Edmonton trying to stay alive and trying to avoid that same fate in the Stanley Cup Finals, which continue tonight. Gator, some went viral in the last couple of days, and we didn't get a chance to get to it yesterday. And it was another case of run on the field guy. Reds Guardians game. Dude runs on the field and gets out into the middle of the outfield. And as security approaches him, he does a backflip.
Yep.
Which was impressive, especially because, it looked like he was fouled. The security guard got into him a little bit. I thought he got fouled.
I thought there was contact.
Yeah. But as he starts to run away, the security guard, I hadn't seen this ever on a run on the field guy, pulls out a taser and zaps his ass, and down he goes. Down goes gymnast run on the field guy. And I was kind of thinking, right on.
I'm not going to lie to you. When someone, strike that, when some jackass runs onto the field of play, onto a court, onto the ice, if you're that bold.
Yep.
A big part of me wants that person to face some pain. I don't want them to be permanently hurt or maimed. I'm just saying, for your dumb action, I want it to be twofold. I want you to get wiped out and arrested. I want them both. All right? I don't want just the gentle, oh, come on, we got to go this way. The weak tackle that takes him down and, because they do the dance, right? What they do is they try to avoid the cops the whole time because they want the crowd to cheer. Then they start egging the crowd on and all that. No. I love seeing the wipeout tackle, and we were kind of cheated from the wipeout tackle in this instance. However, pulling out the taser.
Zap.
Is it excessive? I was watching TMZ last night, and they were talking about it. That was one of the reporters. They said it's an abuse of power. I'm like, it's not an abuse of power, or is it? But it's.
I don't know, man.
I don't want the person to be hurt permanently, right? And if person's got, you never know who you're tasing, what their health status is, right? But don't you kind of forfeit all that stuff out the window when you walk when you run onto the field of play?
You're trespassing, and in this day and age, look, the screenings that we go through to get to places, you don't know what somebody might be up to when they run onto a field. But should tasing become the standard operating procedure for run on the field guy? Will it make people think twice? I don't want to get tased.
Well,
I've never run on the field guy.
No, you're not going to run on the field, but I still like the old-fashioned tackle by the police or security. That's pretty satisfying. And then you see the pile up and the piling on, and they cuff them and stuff them and get them out of there. The fortunate part about this was that it doesn't seem like the guy had any kind of heart condition. Good, if you're going to get tased. And also that he was clothed. Can you imagine getting tased if you're naked? Streakers.
Wow. I hadn't thought about it.
Well, that's what people do. They strip and they run across the field, right? So
So naked run on the field guy gets tased.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
But I really don't have a problem with busting out the taser in this situation.
Dude, he looked the guy up and he went down like a sack of potatoes.
He went down quick. I'd like to see.
It's a game changer in the run on the field events.
Kind of is. I don't mind seeing other methods used as well. Like the flying net.
Like Batman?
Yeah. The flying net you see in, I think Hunger Games they used it or something. But, chasing them down. Maybe this is a good use of the golf cart. Chasing the guy down to get somebody. There's the driver on the cart, and then there's the guy in the passenger seat who steps up on top of the vehicle. He's going to jump from one to the next, go all Vin Diesel, Fast and Furious. I'm all for creativity when it comes to curtailing this thing.
Yeah.
But tasing is fine with me because I would never do it. So I'm not concerned.
You would never run on the field.
No. If you're going to do something that dumb,
yep,
You need to know. The
You
world needs to
deserve
know now
what
the
fate-
possibilities you get tased.
You deserve what fate befalls you.
Yeah.
Kang, your thoughts on run on the field guy getting tased?
It sounds like Gator wants like a trap door out in the outfield somewhere too. Like, and this may go, hey, you don't know where you're running to.
I saw Gladiator recently.
Right?
The lift up the trap door. Here come the lions.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like for you. Listen, I understand where you come from, Gator, because I don't want to be inhumane here. I'm not trying to make a mockery and like entertain me and hopefully, cause harm to this person. I don't want that. I'm just trying to I'm trying to stop people from doing this. I'm trying to make it so hey, think twice before you go out there. I mean, you're gonna have to put stuff on the tickets now. I think with the tickets, when you purchase a ticket, it always says on there you might be hit by a foul ball or bat or whatever objects. It's up to you, right? Same thing if you enter the field of play. You should know that, listen, we have the ability to tase you. That is a real possibility if you decide to do something like that. So I'm all for it if this is a deterrent for people to stop running onto the field.
And the truth is, if you run onto the field with a heart condition and get tased.
Yeah, see, no one wants that.
Nobody wants that, but you better not run on the field with a heart condition, right?
This needs to be a known thing. Look, dude, you go out there, you're gonna get tased. Can you handle that?
Yep. I'm not against it. I'm not against it. Tasing for run on the field guy. Is run on the field guy when it happens in football and a football player takes that guy out? That's also a spectacular way
It's fantastic. I remember the baseball game at Comerica Park when you had the high school kid who was the ball boy. And he chased the guy down the left field line.
Yeah.
And tackled him with beautiful tackle. It was an awesome tackle.
Form tackle.
Right. He was like a cornerback in high school. He didn't,
You gotta love that.
They told, unfortunately, they told the kid, don't ever do that again, but nice job.
I feel like run on the field guy is one of those weird deals where people are rooting for I think the fans start rooting for run on the field guy. They're cheering, hey. But then when he gets taken down, people want to see him get taken down hard.
Yes. That is one of the rare occasions you are rooting for both sides.
Yeah.
You want it because as a fan, you like the entertainment of, okay, this guy's eluding the cops, and you can hear like the Benny Hill music going in the background. And eventually, when you know he's going to get caught, when you can see it as a fan, you can see it coming.
Mm-hmm.
It is so satisfying to watch the big collision and then the cuffing and the stuffing and then get out of here.
Yep. Well,
But I'd be happier if it just never happened in the first place.
Yeah, I'm going to guess that when run on the field guy is being let off, like they've got him and he's waving and like living it up, that probably drives you nuts.
It does. That's why I like the cuffing right on the field so he has no opportunity to wave.
Yeah. Well, the tasing, it might be the next thing. Now, is it deter people? Who knows? If you're dumb enough to run on the field, you probably don't care if you're getting tased. 248-539-9797. All right, interesting story about our quarterback. List of guys that might get better, might get worse. And the reasoning that they move our guy, well, we will talk about it today at 10:31 here on Carson Anderson on 97.1 The Ticket. Hey, tired of hitting up that same old quarter spot or wing spot for the same flat draft beer that's warm by the time you finish it? Well, let me let you in on a little secret. Twin Peaks is the best place to watch any game, anytime. For starters, when I say the best draft beer in the state, I'm not lying. It takes at least 6 hours to freeze their mugs properly, and they keep enough on hand where every mug is used only once in an entire day. Combine that with a beer system that pours at a teeth-chattering 29 degrees, and you'll see glaciers rising up out of that mug. Talk about beer crystals. Now pair that with their wings. Have you seen their wings? It's a full meal in and of itself. You can have them 4 different ways. Boneless wings are never frozen, hand-cut and breaded and fried to order. You can't beat that. And they're bone-in, breaded and smoked wings are bigger than your favorite wing spot. Now toss any of those 12 wings, in 12 possible sauces and rubs. You're in heaven. Some of their favorites include the house bourbon teriyaki, the pineapple habanero, and, of course, the beautiful Twin Peaks girls will tell you about their favorite, the spicy Thai chili. Saturday night, Tank Davis returns to the ring to defend his WBA lightweight world title against unbeaten top contender Frank the Ghost Martin. Additionally, David Benavidez is set to make his 175-pound debut against former lightweight world champion Gvozdyk in a matchup for the interim WBC lightweight title. Not a bad way to spend your Saturday night. Eat Twin Peaks, eats, drinks, and scenic views.
So I'm looking at a picture that Johnny Bench, Baseball Hall of Famer, at least his Twitter account anyway, has tweeted out a picture, a still shot of the moment that the taser inflicts its pain on the younger fan. And it's brilliant because you can see the cop chasing him with the taser engaged and the threads of the taser coming at, and obviously the prongs are already in the guy's back. The cop has a look on his face of determination like you haven't seen. The 19-year-old who gets tased is just in the throes of the initial stages of pain and looks like he's ready to cry. Or looks like he is crying. He's like, ah! It's fantastic. And yet, Doug, I can't help but think the cop was right there.
When he did the flip.
Kid did a backflip right in front of him. I mean, all he had to do was wrap him up and take him to the ground.
And so the kid does the backflip, takes off running. The cop, touched him during the backflip. It was actually pretty impressive to be able to perform the backflip through contact.
Yeah, it
was impressive.
It was an and one.
But then the cop, I think, intentionally let him run away.
Yep.
And was like, okay.
Cop's like, I got something for you.
Zap. I think he could have tackled him, but instead he said, let me break out my trusty G2011 tase unit and take him down.
So Johnny Bench signed the picture, and it says, great catch, Cincinnati's finest, Johnny Bench.
Yep.
And then you realize the 19-year-old getting tased is wearing a Johnny Bench jersey, so that's even funnier. The whole thing's just funny.
If you want to see the picture Gator is referencing, you can check it out on Twitter at DougAndGator971.
You retweeted it?
It has been retweeted.
Nice.
Yes. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a pretty good shot. Okay. So CBS Sports put together a list of quarterbacks poised to improve and regress in 2024. What to expect from quarterbacks to improve? Would you expect your guys to improve or go back? A lot of this is driven by statistics. They have multiple categories. One is extremely likely to bounce back from injury. Aaron Rodgers is on that list. I don't know if I would consider him extremely likely given recent Aaron Rodgers news. Anthony Richardson's on the list. Joe Burrow, Kyler Murray, Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence all made that list. And I feel like almost everybody who was hurt they put on that list. Most likely to improve. These are quarterbacks who are most likely to improve this year, and reasons are given why. One is Patrick Mahomes. Two is Jordan Love.
Expected to improve.
They write Jordan Love through 32 times. This is the Green Bay Packers young quarterback that came into Detroit in Thanksgiving Day, ruined our Thanksgiving, and looked great doing it. I mean, he looked great doing it.
He had a nice season last year.
They threw 32 touchdown passes, which ranked as the second most in the entire NFL behind Dak Prescott, who had 36. Love did this while throwing exclusively to players in their first or second NFL season. Wide receiver Christian Watson, who was 24 years old last season, was a pass catcher's elder statesman with another year of experience as an NFL starting quarterback. And all those guys a year older, Love should continue to progress up the league's quarterback hierarchy. Well, that's effing great. And I feel like my fears are being fed into and are coming true.
Well, it's one person's opinion. How do you think he's going to do this year?
I think he's going to regress dramatically, and Green Bay will be in the quarterback market next year.
How do you really think?
I'm scared. He looked so good.
He looked so good, but I agree with it. He did. I think it's hard to reproduce that type of year knowing the defenses are going to react and adjust.
Mm-hmm.
Now they've had a full offseason to do so.
Yep.
And it's not like he had a track record at Utah State of being amazing. So we'll see. I think he's a very talented quarterback. I think it's hard to be better. I think it's possible he could be as good, which is scary to think. I mean, 32 touchdown passes in your first season as a starter is very impressive.
Yep. So most likely to regress, Lions quarterback Jared Goff. And here's what is written. Detroit Lions quarterback Jared Goff threw for over 4,000 yards and over 25 touchdowns for the second season in a row. Something Matthew Stafford did 5 times in his 12th season with the Lions, but never in consecutive years like Goff did.
Never in consecutive years.
Thus, the Lions rewarded Goff with a 5-year, $212 million contract. Detroit's entire offensive core remains intact, but the Lions failed to add significant wide receiver talent opposite Amon-Ra St. Brown in the offseason. Second-team All-Pro tight end Sam Laporta makes for a strong second option, but they do have Jameson Williams entering year 3. But the failure to find a reliable number 3 in a tougher NFC North that includes a rising young Green Bay Packers squad and a revitalized Chicago Bears group could lead to a Goff regression in 2024. So I'm willing to debate this and whether or not there would be a Goff regression in 2024. They didn't cite this, but are we perhaps discounting the loss of Josh Reynolds? And we've talked about it, but I haven't talked about it. I've talked about it in more of a terms of, okay, somebody else has to step up. And Reynolds leaves a very odd legacy in Detroit given his last game where he had 2 critical drop passes, one on 4th down, one on 3rd down, which both of them felt like turnovers.
Because they both would have been first downs.
Yeah. But he meant a lot to the quarterback.
Yeah, he did. And I've been asking myself too, when I read this, I was thinking, okay, I was worried that this article was just going to be trashing Jared Goff and be completely unfair. I'm like, awesome, here we go. But instead, it did offer a reason why, and a legitimate reason why that we have to ponder and think about a little bit. And I think the way I look at it, though, is that you had Sam Laporta in year 1 that had a great year. I do expect him to be better. I expect Sam to be a better player. He's got the year of experience under his belt. And, Jared Goff knows full well he can trust him completely. Amon-Ra St. Brown had a career year, but this has been his arc of his career so far through the first, few seasons into it. This is what he is. Can he continue to put up numbers like he did? If he stays healthy, sure he can. Jameson Williams as the new number 2 wide receiver, that's the one. This is the guy that has to take the big leap forward because he was kind of a decoy last year, a little bit of a gimmicky type thing last year as we're waiting for him to develop and really embrace what it is to be a wide receiver in the National Football League. So we need this big jump next for this upcoming season because Josh Reynolds was what he was. He was a professional, and he had the relationship with Goff. They felt comfortable with each other, running the routes, throwing the ball. He knew he could count on him, knew he could rely on him. This is where it's vitally important for Jameson Williams to take that next big leap. It's not a small leap. It's a big leap. He has
really
to go
important.
from being, this guy that he can use a couple times a game and catch a team, by off guard, to being a guy that is relied upon for like 8 targets a game.
I mean, look, I don't know if these are assumptions necessarily. We are making assumptions about Laporta taking a step forward. We're making assumptions about Jameson Williams taking a step forward. We're making assumptions about DPJ or Khalif Raymond being able to take Josh Reynolds' role.
Jahmyr Gibbs.
Out of all of this, to me, the Jameson Williams thing feels like the most sure thing. It feels to me like the most, there's a probability of, and that could happen, is Jameson Williams can take that step up. But it feels incredibly important. Like, I think everybody in Detroit knows it, but Jameson Williams might be the key to this whole season. He could be you're right. He wasn't a gimmick. It was more than that. But there's a big difference between being a guy that's on the field for some snaps and being a guy that's on the field every snap.
So watching what his snap counts are going to be this year should definitely dwarf what he did last year, which means that everybody knows his speed. His speed has got to be respected and safeties pay attention to it, and that's going to open up other things. Jahmyr Gibbs is going to have, I would think, a better year catching the football than he did his rookie season. A, because he was a rookie and he's learned more, but 2, because they need to count on him more, and I think Jameson's going to open things up for everybody else. The other thing I think where the Lions offense, and this is where statistically with the numbers, maybe Goff's numbers won't look as impressive, but I think the Lions are going to be able to run the football.
Kang, what do you think of this?
So I think we got to worry about Jameson Williams being the best Jameson Williams he can. We can't worry about him replacing Josh Reynolds because they're not the same receiver. Josh Reynolds was a reliable receiver that Jared Goff knew he could go to for first downs and contested catches. I think that role falls on DPJ or Antoine Green or somebody else. Maybe it's Khalif Raymond. He's not as big for those contested catches, but I think it's the reliability factor. Jameson Williams, his role this year is to break the top off the defense. You know what I mean? To go over the top, big splash plays. So I think that's where we gotta keep that in focus. You know what I'm saying? He's not gonna be Josh Reynolds. That's not the type of receiver he is. Now we expect production from him. He's gonna get a lot more snap counts, plays, all that stuff. But I think we got to focus on who the other guy is. Maybe that's DPJ.
And all of the reports are that he's killing it. That he's absolutely killing it. Jameson Williams is killing it this spring, and so let's cross our fingers and hope that that's true. If he doesn't come through, you start thinking about the offense with Amon-Ra, Laporta, Gibbs out of the backfield. I mean, that's just if he doesn't come through or if he gets hurt. Like, where are they? It feels like they're awfully thin over there. There's some hoping, and there's crossing our fingers that there's not a great amount of injuries. But 248-539-9797. Nonetheless, the prediction is a regression statistically for Jared Goff, according to CBS Sports. Somebody else made that list of regressing quarterbacks. We'll get to that today at 1046. 248-539-9797. It's Carson Anderson on 97.1 The Ticket. Doug Carr, Scott Anderson, 97 won a ticket. The thing about Jameson Williams that's interesting is he is a player that I think Detroiters absolutely have embraced, love, and have great enthusiasm over for a variety of very valid reasons. He also has a couple of things that could put him in like in a category like Eric Ebron. You know, he comes in with an injury, he gets the gambling suspension. He's, puts a picture on social media with him with a firework in his hand, which is scary as hell. and yet at the end of the day, Jameson Williams is one of these players that could take this team to the next level. So much is riding on his development, and he does things that make you a hero in Detroit. When David Montgomery has like a 25-yard run, now it's 30 yards, it's 35, and now it goes to the distance because Jameson Williams is sprinting downfield, lead blocking for him. I think almost every sports town is exactly the same, with some minor exceptions. And some towns like in Boston, they care about the Red Sox, and then in Dallas, they care most about the Cowboys. In LA, they care most about the Lakers. But one of the things I think is unique to Detroit, I think we turn role players into stars. And I also think when a receiver, a first-round receiver, is not the biggest guy you've ever seen, is sprinting downfield and blocking, that takes you from being we elevate you to godlike status. Like, we really love that stuff.
Yeah, I don't know if we elevate the godlike status or if we turn them into stars, but I will agree that we appreciate it as much as anybody else does.
Yeah, we really do.
Just like I'm sure San Francisco really appreciates Juszczyk, and people in New Orleans appreciate the guy who thinks he's a quarterback. Every town has their guys without question, and we do appreciate when you do the little things, and it's tangible to see on film. What you did was the reason that this guy scored.
Yep.
When you're watching highlight packages and you go over it time and time again, absolutely.
This is the stuff that Detroit loves more, I think, than most sports communities. So anyway, Jameson Williams, a lot riding on him. But interesting. I mean, look, if Goff has a statistical regression this year, I don't particularly care, as long as it's not one that coincides with losing or is leading to losing. Just win the damn games.
Numbers can go down for players, and the team can be better.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, let's say Laporta doesn't have all the numbers he had last year, but he could be a better player, better blocker, just more situational awareness on the field because now he has a year under his belt. Same thing with Jahmyr Gibbs, although I do expect Jahmyr Gibbs' numbers to go up because he's that dynamic. But, yeah, with Goff, if his numbers go down, they could still win more games just because they're just running the offense better, and the defense might be better.
You don't have to have mad comebacks, throwing the ball all the time if you're just going out and taking care of business.
That's what I'm saying. I expect the running game to be better this year than what it was last year.
Yeah, this prediction doesn't bother me. What's interesting, they predict a regression for Brock Purdy.
Well, and I can understand why. I mean, Brock Purdy, it was close to the record for completion percentage at 69%. It's awful hard to duplicate that. And same thing with Purdy, I would say about, same thing that I said about Jordan Love, I'd say about Purdy. Okay, now people have seen you. It's been just a little over a year because you had the run the year before as well. Can they make adjustments? And there's turmoil in San Francisco.
Yep. All right, feedback coming in here to the Carson Anderson inbox. Guys, the Lions have been thin at wide receiver for all of Brad Holmes' tenure. We have won despite of that. I'm confident this offense is talented enough.
I think that's true.
Dave at work, I don't think Reynolds is terrible, but I don't think we will miss him at all. I compare him to Jamal Williams. He isn't special at all. He only produced the way he did because of our system and the personnel, and I think we easily replace his production. That's from Dave at work. There's one big difference. When Jamal Williams left, Detroit added David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs.
Right.
Josh Reynolds has left, and they've added, I don't want to say nothing, but they've added close to nothing.
Well, they've added nothing.
They haven't added anybody that's expected to be a starter.
Correct. But then again, Josh Reynolds was not a number one guy either. Kind of a role player on the team, maybe a little bit more than a role player because of the targets that he got, and he was productive. Mm-hmm. They can make up that production in the aggregate. which is what the Lions did with the running game with Jamal Williams. They made it up because they had the two-back system, and those two backs combined were spectacular. And I think it was a little maybe surprising how many touchdowns that David Montgomery actually had. You know, and you look because you're like, how do you make up 17 touchdowns or whatever it was Jamal Williams had? Well, hold my beer and I'll show you how. Here's what they did. So can the Lions do that by getting Khalif Raymond more involved? That Amon-Ra St. Brown might get some more catches this year. Jameson Williams certainly getting more catches. Sam Laporta being more relied on even more. And then you got guys like Vaki and Gibbs out of the backfield. I think the running backs are going to play a big role, not just running the football, but catching the ball out of the backfield. Vaki is another one who could be a weapon.
From Chris in a truck, why can't DPJ be number 3, second year in the system? I think he's going to be much, much better. He could be.
He can be, but doesn't have this long track record, yeah.
Guys, it's just more Goff hate. He'll never get respect, even after we win the Super Bowl. They'll come back and say, well, he won't do it next year. Yeah, well.
I didn't take this one to be Goff hate. I went into it expecting it to be Goff hate, and it really wasn't.
It's a list of quarterbacks that they expect to regress statistically this year. Goff was on it.
I think there may have been too many quarterbacks on the list they thought were going to get better. One of the ones they thought was going to get better was Patrick Mahomes. And I was like, really?
Yeah. Well, they basically said every injured quarterback that comes back is going to be good. And I'm like, oh, I don't know about that. Ben in Kalamazoo says, stop acting like J-Mo's a small wide receiver. He's 6'2" and looks like he put on some good weight. Well, he's listed at 6'1", 180. Whether we're acting like it or not, I don't know. I mean, are we acting like he's a small receiver? He's 6'1", 180. I mean, compare that to like Mike Evans. I don't know. I expect them to win 50-50 balls all over the field and get red zone targets. Well, you have to be tough. It doesn't really matter how big you are. You can play bigger than your size. But, you know, I mean, do you think of him as a big receiver?
J-Mo?
Yeah.
No.
Mike Evans is 6'5", 231.
That's a big receiver.
J-Mo's 6'1", 180.
Yeah, Calvin was a big receiver.
Yeah. Now, I guess he said don't act like he's small.
He's not. He's not that either. It's not like he's Golden Tate out there.
Yep.
He's, I think, an average-sized wide receiver in the league, but with extraordinary speed.
Me talking about how we take the little things and elevate players to godlike status. We get this from Scott. You're right. Craig Reynolds made a block last year that we celebrated for a week. That's true. A Tampa game.
Yep.
Such a great block. Such a great block. 248-539-9797. Much relying on this Lions offense on Jameson Williams. And look, there is a chance that somebody else can step up. We've loved Khalif Raymond in his role. More will be asked of him. Donovan Peoples-Jones, at one point in his career, it looked like he'd be more than what we're asking of him to be right now. So we shall see. Other quarterbacks that they expect regression from: Baker Mayfield, Kirk Cousins, Deshaun Watson, Derek Carr. So those made the regression list. The other ones that made the likely improvement list: Mahomes, Jordan Love, C.J. Stroud, Jalen Hurts, Bryce Young, Lamar Jackson, Tua, Will Levis. All guys they expect to get better. But God,
I feel my way with Tua. Even better.
He has to get better. Wouldn't you think so? I mean, it's time to step up.
I think it's hard for him to be much better than he was last year, but we'll see.
Got to get better. Okay. Tigers in action this afternoon. They lose last night to the Nationals 7-5. Reese Olson is in a suboptimal portion of his season. We'll get to that next hour a little bit. Plus, something that nobody seemed to understand, and it went viral. We'll get to that today at 11:02 here on Karsch and Anderson. 248-539-9797. Just a reminder, you can stream the show on the Odyssey app. Download it for your mobile device today. AUDACY. Not only can you listen to our show, you can listen to all the shows. You can use the 24-hour rewind feature to go back and listen to anything from yesterday. And we'll have Tiger Baseball this afternoon. For those that can't watch or stream, you can listen here on 97.1 The Ticket or the Odyssey app. You can also stream to our website, 971theticket.com. Streaming with video, go to twitch.tv, search up 971 The Ticket, and bang, there we are. And additionally, streaming on YouTube, go to youtube.com/KSND TigerBaseball.com. Search up 971 The Ticket, and you will see us. 248-539-9797. Let's get back to your phone calls. We go to Greg in Dearborn. You're on 97.1 The Ticket. Hi, Greg.
Hey, guys. How's it going? Happy weekend, Junior.
Yes, we're almost there.
So I think it's funny that anyone would ever complain about the Lions' offense being a possible issue. So I Googled how many offensive snaps a team gets, and it's roughly, it said 63, but let's go with 60.
Okay.
And then so if you want to be balanced, you're going to have 30 running plays and then 30 passing plays, right? And then out of that 30 passing plays, I want 10 balls to go to Amon-Ra, maybe 10 to Laporta, and then 3 to Gibbs, and then 2 to J-Mo. And that doesn't even, it's kind of simplifying it, but that's why I think it's funny. I think the only reason that Goff would ever, you could argue, might have a step back is because of maybe the contract, because, that happened before. But I don't see that happening with him this year.
Goff has a quiet determination. I think, honestly, Goff plays with a lot of FU. I think Jared Goff has done one of the best jobs of a player that has channeled doubt. And everybody tries to do it, but we talk to him every week. And when he, you can hear it in his voice. He asks us questions that surprise me sometimes, where it's clear that he's probing for doubt. He'll be probing.
What did he say to Wojo that one time? It was hilarious when he was asking him in the he asked him some question, and he just totally lit Wojo up with the best rye. Like, are you really asking me that question right now?
Yeah, if he senses doubt in a question, he will ask us directly. And
they were talking
it.
about the talent on the team or something, and then Wojo kind of took the comment away. And and Goff just like, okay, all right.
Anyway, 248-539-9797 went viral. Nobody knew what it meant. We'll get to that at 11:02. 97.1 The Ticket. Hey, if you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. Call CGC Water to prove that they got the best solutions in water treatment for your family. And they have a new pricing system with the products. Kinetico system from CGC Water. You experience cleaner, great tasting, healthier water for your family. Financing options available with approved credit. Tell them Doug Carr sent you. Call 855-339-4242. That's 855-339-4242. Or visit cgcwater.com, your local independent Kinetico dealer.
Brought to you by CGC Water Treatment. The 124th U.S. Open is well underway at Pinehurst number 2. Tiger Woods went off at 7:30 this morning, birdied his opening hole, however, leaving himself far too many long par putts, and now he is 2 over par for the tournament at the moment on the back nine. Couple of bogeys in his last few holes. Also, Flint's Willie Mack III on the course, as is Michigan State's Ashton McCullough. Otto Black of Pinckney tees off in the final group of the afternoon. Right now, there are 3 atop the leaderboard. Brooks Koepka, Ludwig Oberg, and Matthew Pavone. They are all at 3 under par for the tournament. Also, last chance for the Tigers to log a win against the Nationals. Round 3 at Comerica Park is a day game at 1:10 p.m. Casey Mize will get the nod. Action right here on 97.1. Manager AJ Hinch jumped on with the ticket this morning, discussing the team's progress and sub-500 record as we stand here in mid-June. Hinch also says that Jack Flaherty will have his bullpen session today and is looking good to get the start on Saturday down in Houston against Justin Verlander and the Astros. And if you're curious to watch the new Netflix series Receiver featuring Amon-Ra St. Brown of the Lions, episodes slated to drop on July 10th. There's also a trailer that was released for it. From the Corewell Health Sports Desk, I'm Chris Villar. For more, go to 97.1 The Ticket and Odyssey.com.
Doug Hart, Scott Anderson, 97.1 The Ticket. Welcome to the program on a Thursday. Tiger baseball coming up this afternoon. It's kind of a weird morning with a rainstorm that moves through. It gets really windy, and our remote outside of Comerica Park got canceled. Now I look outside, it looks beautiful. There's no wind.
Well, there wasn't. I watched the weather report last night. That didn't seem to indicate there was going to be any issue in the morning, that the issue could be later in the day, much later in the day, like in the evening. But yeah, this is well, look, we were just being protected from the lawnmowers.
Maybe that's it, yeah. Anyway, something went viral yesterday, sort of. I mean, we saw this on the internet, and we got a laugh out of it. Have you even heard of what's going on in cricket?
No.
You heard nothing about our U.S. team that's like 20 unders, shocked the world. And
I will say that, we have a mutual friend that sent something over yesterday, and as soon as I saw the word cricket, I ignored it.
Yeah, okay. So anyway.
So I don't care.
Yeah, we're not doing a topic about cricket.
Why not?
I want to make that clear up front. But what people reacted to is the score got posted. And it was like USA 110/9, parentheses 20, India 33/2, parentheses 6. And somebody posted, I don't even know what the F this means.
That's
right. There was more to it. I'm going to have to see if I can find it, because it was like India needs 86 runs and 84 balls. It means that the United States scored 110 runs in 20 overs and had 8 outs. India was batting. They had 33 runs in 6 overs and had 2 outs. None of this makes sense to anybody, nor do they care. But it leads to the following topic. What out there do you look at and you have no idea what you're looking at? Like, you don't understand the relevance. You don't understand what they, and I'll give you an example. This happens to me in sports. I don't get BABIP. When people start, whenever the analytics guys bring up BABIP,
batting average and balls in play,
I'm like, who the F cares? It like eliminates
home runs,
foul balls and home runs and
walks,
strikeouts, and just does your batting average when you put the ball in play. And I cannot,
why is that relevant?
Cannot for the life of me wrap my head around like why it's relevant. I'll tell you the exact feeling I get. You know when you have a dream and like your dog turns into a pretzel and you don't even question it, you just go on with the dream, right? Something happens in a dream that makes no sense.
You're right.
And you just don't even, when somebody starts talking in BABIP to me, I'm like into that dream phase where I'm like, I don't know what the hell. I'll accept it. Yeah, his BIP is only 214.
His RC plus.
Well, that don't even get me started, right?
There's a lot of the analytics that they use that just spit out numbers that I'm sure mean something, and I probably should take the time. Maybe you and I need to take a class together and figure it out.
No,
but I don't have the patience for it.
I sat down and really said one day, by the end of this study session I'm gonna wrap my head around BABIP. And by the end of it, I had no clue. I had no clue why it was significant.
Yeah, why it's significant, I'm not sure. I understand what it is. I'm just not. I'm with you. I'm not sure why it's so significant. Because why on earth would I take away home runs
and strikeouts and foul outs? I mean, these things are part of the game.
It's a huge part of the game, particularly if you're somebody who hits home runs. Mm-hmm. Now I can't use that.
Why do I want to take away?
Anyway. I hit 42 home runs last year. Yeah, but I mean, your BABIP was low.
And now we're going to get BABIP guy to call up. But
I don't want BABIP guy.
No, I don't really want to talk. But we're just asking you, is there anything you look at that you don't understand? Kang, you had a great one this morning.
Yeah, I'll sit down at a restaurant, and they'll hand me a craft beer menu, and I have no idea what I'm looking at. I'm not even like, this is not me like, turning my nose from craft beer guy. No, drink what you like. That's fine. I personally, Kang, do not understand the craft beer menu. They put that thing in front of me, and I'm looking at weird names with alcohol percentages on the side and somewhere underneath it, and where the beer was brewed from, and also I'm like,
what kind of hops are being used?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, this. I'm just looking at nothing. Like this means nothing to me. I don't know what I'm supposed to pick from this. I'll just take a light domestic beer, right? And a water.
Oh, sorry, we don't have that.
Right, not even close.
No, we have water, but we don't have.
Well, they call the light beer their water. But whatever it is, yeah, that's my thing, Doug. When I look at this, like that's my cricket score. I'm looking at it, I'm like,
and you have no idea what you're reading when you're reading a craft beer. Like, I get it. I'm looking for key words like light.
What, shanty?
Oh, yeah, or yeah, shanty. And I'm not seeing any of those key words.
I just go straight to the alcohol content.
As I'm reading these, descriptions of these beers, and I'm like, so it's a triple IPA. How am I supposed to react? I don't know what happened. Is there a quadruple IPA? Is there
more hop?
Can I get a negative IPA? Can I go the other direction? This is a -2 IPA.
I messed up one time, guys, and I was at a craft brewery type place, and the waitress came over and she's like, "Yeah, we got a bunch of craft beers. Here we go." And she goes, "Are you into craft beer?" And I'm like, I don't know why. I was like, "Yeah, I'm into it." And then, so she thought like I knew what I was looking at, and I just
love this.
And I felt like an idiot. I was like faking my way through this, like, just please, can we just get an app or something?
Yeah.
And then she came back, and it was clear I didn't know because I asked for a Miller Lite.
You know what? None of this, all this is beneath my standards.
Exactly.
I'll just have a Miller Lite instead. All right, Voltaire.
Yeah, exactly.
What is it that you see, you hear, and you just don't get? This is a no judgment zone too. Like, I'm sure the analytics crowd hate us for our lack of understanding of BABIP and RC plus and et cetera. But the one that gets me more than anything is batting average on balls in play. 248-539-9797. Tony, you're on 97.1 A Ticket. Hi, Tony.
What's going on, fellas? Listen, I listen to y'all show every day, and I watch baseball, but I don't know much about it. So I want to hang Javi Baez with everybody else. Y'all be talking about the POS and WAR, and I'm like, I don't know what none of that means, but I just want to hang Javi Baez with the rest of everybody else. I just don't know the baseball analytics, and all day, every day, I hear baseball stats, and I'm like, I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is, but I hate Javi Baez because everybody else does.
I would say with regards to like OPS, OPS is on base percentage plus slugging percentage. Now this is about as far as I really want to go with the analytic world because I can still understand it really well, and I think it's a good gauge of what a hitter is because I can understand on base percentage, and I follow baseball enough where I know that hey, if you have an on base percentage above 350, it's pretty good. If you have a slugging percentage, above 450, that's good. If you have it above 500, you're great. And when you add those two numbers together, That's where you have to know what like the league average is, which is around 700. So anything above that, you just you start to understand a little bit. But you start throwing in the other numbers, the other letters in the mix. I just go back to algebra and I start to tune out.
Yes, I'm completely lost in it. I'm just here for Hayden Javi Baez. I worry about all the other stats and letters and everything else. He a POS. That's the only one I got.
Oh boy.
Easy. That's a bit far.
Well, the letters you need to know with Javi Baez are IL. It's on the injured list right now.
248-539-9797. What is it, world of sports or otherwise, when you look at it, you have absolutely no idea what is being talked about. Like the cricket scores yesterday, the batting average of balls in play, Kang with a craft beer menu. What is it for you? It's Carson Anderson, 97.1 The Ticket. Sarah Chevrolet Sterling Heights wants you to save cash this summer with 0 down all month long. Right now, pay no money and lease a new Chevy Trailblazer at $265 a month, or an Equinox at just $299 a month. Those are both LS front-wheel drive and they're 36-month leases with $0 down. Unlock the savings with their GM employee discount and a lease in your household. Sarah Chevrolet Sterling Heights, where they guarantee the lowest price or it's free. 17.5 in Van Dyke and Sterling Heights. Call 87-SAY-SARAH or go to saysarah.com. Together, let's drive. See dealer for details and get there fast. All offers end July 1st. We like to call it a safe place. Where there's things that you just don't understand. And I mean, mine is BBIP. I don't get it. This is because the cricket scores went out yesterday, and people are like, I don't know what this means. We were playing well, I guess, and it's a big surprise. I don't follow how much of a surprise it is, but the U.S. had 110/8, and then in parentheses 20. India had 33/2 with parentheses 6. I could go into great details to what it means, but I imagine most people don't care. Suffice to say we were winning, but there were still 14 overs left for India to come back. But people were laughing like nobody knows what this means. So here I am with BBIP. I don't know what it means. Kang looks handed a craft beer menu, and he looks at it, but you don't know what you're looking at, which is hilarious. Gator, do you have one that stands out?
I mean, for me, it's kind of like war. I look at a bunch of statistics comparing like two players. They're very similar. Runs scored, stolen bases, RBIs, hits, slugging percentage. All these things are very, very similar. And then yet one guy has a WAR that's like twice as much as the other.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, how does that work out? Is it the position he's playing? Is it because I'm not taking into account fielding, or and then I just lose patience. I'm like, I don't care. I'll go by my own eyeball test and the stats that I know and what I can look at, and some of the sabermetrics that I sort of understand. I can look at that as well.
Yep.
But,
248-539-9797. Anyway, what is it you look at you just don't get, and you're like, okay. You're either okay or you fake it or you just don't care.
Kang, you faking it at a craft beer place is hysterical.
It is fantastic.
Such a mistake, too.
You a craft beer fan? Yeah.
And she went on. She starts telling me all about like I would know the verbiage and everything and the terminology. And I'm like,
Does this have more or less malt character than the double IPA? I mean, I don't know.
And I told her I needed a few more minutes for it. No problem. Then it's a big menu. Got it. Come back and I order a Miller Lite.
Right.
I mean, come on. It's,
you know what I try?
What's this beer from Milwaukee? That sounds good.
Wait, is this more of a Mexican lager? Like I ask these questions and I don't. It's a great one. I don't really know. I do find if there's no light beer and there's no shandies, Mexican lager is my third go-to. Is it? Would you describe this as a Mexican lager?
I think mine is wheat.
You go with wheat?
Yeah. Ale. Stay away from IPA. But ale is, that's kind of, well, the first thing I do when I go to a craft beer place is I look down the list of the alcohol content.
Yeah.
So I look for anything that's below 7%. Usually anything that's below 6%. Because I don't want to, drink syrup and whatnot. Although I don't want to, get in a fight with the craft beer guys. Those are, to each their own. You like what you like, and what I like is something I can sip and enjoy and
less alcohol content. Yeah,
exactly.
Some guys go the opposite way.
I know a lot of people go the opposite way. I don't. So that's what I look at first, and then I'll make you got to narrow down to 10 selections. I look at those 10 selections, and if I see IPA, that's off the list, and then we'll go from there. But typically, you're looking at lagers and ales.
Matt's in Grosse Pointe, and he's on 97 the ticket. What's up, Matt?
Hey, guys. So I don't consider myself an idiot, and I love football, and I follow football my whole life. But there's like a QBR, and then there's a passer rating.
Yeah.
I don't know what either one is or why they use it. All I need to know is he threw it this many times, he completed this many, he threw this many to the wrong team, and this many touchdowns. And apparently all those go into this QBR, but why would it have a max value of like a 148? It makes no sense.
Well, that's the other way around. The quarterback rating has a max value of whatever it is, 153 or something.
It's honestly, it feels like some random number.
Yeah, but the QBR is the one that seems like it scrutinizes over stuff more. Like QBR seems like it's the new sabermetric version of quarterback rating.
But why?
I don't know. I don't know.
The sheer
they care more about. Oh well, there was only he's only averaged 6.3 yards per attempt.
And 6 yards in the air across the wind, right?
Air yards and all that stuff. I care about winning. Is the quarterback winning?
Yes, thank you.
Is he completing the pass? Are they getting first downs?
Yeah,
right, exactly.
But all we know is that the higher the better.
Right.
I'll give it that.
So if that's what you care about, then you care about the quarterback rating more than you do QBR, which is where I'm at.
248-539-9797. As far as the craft beer thing, circling back to that, because that's a great one. You know what got me is because I feel like I'm missing out on the IPA, and then all of a sudden people started introducing New England IPAs. And I'm like, oh, let me give this one a shot. I'll try this. It's more of a New England IPA. And I'm tasting, I'm like, nope.
What about the Session IPA?
Yeah, nope. Kurt, you're next. Hi, Kurt.
Hey, you guys are providing a great service because I feel like this is long overdue. I'm having kind of a religious experience. I need to come to confession this morning with you guys.
Yeah.
Two things. I have absolutely no idea about sports betting. Have no idea. All the numbers, the plus this, the minus that, the number goes up and that's worse. The number goes down and that's good. Have no idea about sports betting. And the other one that I really need to confess publicly is I ride a Harley Davidson. Guys always ask me what size motor I have. I have no idea. All I know is I run that thing. And they asked me how many, what size motor you got? I look on the side of it. It says 103. I said, oh, I got a 103. I have no idea what that is. None whatsoever. And all I tell guys is, hey, I start it, and if it runs, I'm good. If it doesn't start, I'm calling somebody to get help.
That is so fantastic.
Thank you for giving me this service. I've been holding on to this for a long time. This has been a secret, a dirty secret in my life. You guys are great. Thanks for letting me get
so
this
great. The plus minus thing, it's way for betting 4-1 is
give me that.
You give me is way
give me
more, but you get a plus 400, which basically means the same thing. At 4-1, I can understand way easier, even though I know what plus 400 is.
Right.
Plus 400 means if you bet $100 and you win, you get $400. Minus 400 means you have to bet 400 to win 100.
Everything with the plus minus is based on a $100 bet.
Yep. 4-1, got it.
Sounds good.
Yep.
You're 4-1 odds.
Yep.
Yeah,
that's the Cars Casino.
But what does 103 on the side of a Harley mean, guys?
Wow, that's fantastic. I love that he had that moment where he doesn't mind admitting it publicly.
I feel
that
like
he's Harley, and he's right. I bet Harley drivers, guys who ride Harleys, probably are pretty well schooled in Harleys.
I would imagine most of them
And I bet most of them aren't just, hey, I'll get this bike and I'll ride this bike and it's a Harley. Okay, cool. And don't have any other questions. Because it sounds like he just bought a cool looking bike.
Yeah, he's like, hey, I know how to ride, so I'll do this.
You could hear the weight lifted off his shoulders. Like, seriously, he was like, guys, I got to admit this. Like, no one knows this, but I don't know what it means. He rides a Harley.
There are times, and I'll get in discussions with people about like guitars and amplifiers and stuff like that. And I know some.
Yep.
I don't know anywhere near as much as like guitar guys know. And then they start getting into that world.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh yeah, is it a Celestial tube amp? Is that what you got? Is it a 65 twin reverb? What? No, man, I just picked this up at Guitar Center.
Yeah, it's damn straight it is.
I plugged in, it sounded good. I don't know. Garrett!
I just got back from Speaker City, dude. I don't know.
I really don't know. It sounds good to me, and that's what I like.
Safe place.
It's a safe place.
A good place to admit things you don't know, you don't understand. 248-539-9797. It's Carson Anderson, 97.1 The Ticket. Hey, congrats to all the Michigan Wolverines drafted into the NFL for 2024. The University of Michigan Credit Union is cheering you on loud and proud. UMCU is a proud partner of Michigan Athletics and the official credit union of the Detroit Lions. One might say they are the leaders and best in financial services. I just suited up with UMCU, and it took less than 10 minutes, and you can too, no matter where you hail from. You're eligible to join, and signing up is easy. I actually scored a cool debit card. You can get the Block M, you can get the Winged Helmet, you can get the Lions debit card. They're all available. And with your UMCU debit card, you're calling plays with that cool card at millions of stores, hotels, and restaurants worldwide. And if you need some cash in your pockets, hit up thousands of surcharge-free ATMs conveniently spread across Michigan and beyond. Open your account today at umcu.org and get in the game. But hey, while you're there, check out the resources for student, auto, or home loans. University of Michigan Credit Union, proudly repping your official Block M debit card. Win with UMCU. we're having a bit of a feels like a bit of a confession. Things that you just don't understand.
It's group therapy.
Yeah. Yep. The idea that, hey, I don't know what babip means. Nobody knew what the cricket scores meant yesterday. Kang doesn't know what he's looking at when he's looking at a craft beer menu. Dude called up and said people ask him about his Harley, and he has no idea.
I don't know how big the engine is. I don't know.
248-539-9797. Got a bunch of feedback coming in on this. But let's get back to your phone calls. Paul's next on 97.1. Hi, Paul.
Thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
Full-time caller. I listen to your show. Thank you. It's a good show. I don't know too much about analytics, but when I look at the Yankees, they got 5 guys that get 30 or more home runs. They get up there and they hit the ball. When I look at Milwaukee, they field the ball and they put the ball in play. Geez, oh man, that's what the Tigers aren't doing, putting the ball in play. And one last thing. The Boston Celtics are on the verge of winning another championship. Of all the cities, I hate Boston winning another championship. That's my feelings. So
yeah. I love it. I love the random attack on Boston.
Yep.
We're here for it, Paul.
I'm down with that. I do not. Remember that call last week? Guy calls up talking about the best city in the world, Boston, and I'm like, yeah, go Mavs. My God, go Mavs.
Yeah, well, listen.
I mean, 2 things have happened where I'm so go Mavs, go Oilers. There's a Florida dude that tweeted us.
Right, the Florida dude that tweeted us is hilarious, but at least Edmonton has a chance. 150-0. That's what the record is for teams that have a 3-0 advantage in the NBA playoffs. So it's not likely, but I'm with the guy. I'm not ready to usher in the next great, period of Celtic dynasty basketball. And it looks like they're set up. And it sucks.
Yep.
It sucks. It's great for them, not great for everybody else.
From an unnamed texter, I don't understand Ryder Cup scoring. It's dumb. Okay, so match play doesn't really understand match.
Well, each day is
well.
different.
If you're talking about somebody won 5 and 3,
gotcha.
Yeah, that might be.
Because you're not playing for score. What you're playing is to win the hole.
If you win a hole,
then you go up 1.
Yeah,
or if you lose a hole, you go down 1. Or you're all square if you tie the hole.
So a 5 and 3, which I just made up, would be with 4 holes to go. Somebody was up 4 holes, and then so the guy who was trailing had to win 15, 16, 17, and 18. And then they're playing 15, and the guy that's winning won. So he won 5 up with 3 holes to go,
right,
is what it means. So that's now why they say 5 and 3. I don't understand why they use the word and because that's how they announce
instead of with.
Yeah. Or 5 over 3 or something. I mean, but they use the word and.
You just throw in 2 numbers. You say 5 and 3.
248-539-9797. John McComb says, hummingbird fish finder. I don't know what the hell I'm looking at. I got to Google what is a hummingbird.
Well, it's just like a fish finder, on a console. It's like a screen that has squiggly lines on it that are supposed to let you know if there's fish at a certain depth.
So Hummingbird's a brand.
I think so.
Okay, but he's got one, and he doesn't know what he's looking at.
I had a some kind of fish finder on my boat, and I struggled with it. Like you could see stuff coming up in the distance of but it's not fish. It's like seaweed or, maybe could be a change in depth, but I didn't really understand it either. And there were different modes you could go to, and I never really explored all the other modes because I'm like, I just need to know how deep the water is, man.
So have you had passengers say, hey, Gator, man, what is this? And you're like, I don't really know.
No, not really. Not really. Because I didn't take that many people out on the boat. So the few people that were on the boat with me, we're just along for a beer. Music. That's all we're here for.
Here is a fantastic one from John in Lake Orion. The Starbucks menu is like theoretical physics to me. I usually just give up, go to Speedway, and get a black coffee.
I 100% agree with that one,
Dude,
too.
What size?
They don't even have sizes.
They don't have sizes. They've got terms.
Yes.
They got a foreign language terms.
Did you want a grande?
I've been sent in for an order before, and I'm like, listen, I'm just going to tell you right now, you have to tell me exactly what to say, because if they start asking questions, I'm out.
Yep.
The few times that I've gone in there, I refuse to use those terms. Because it's just going to get something simple. Like I want a large hot chocolate. I'll say I want a large hot. You want a grande? Yeah, whatever, a large. Yeah. I'm not playing your game.
What's the biggest one you got?
I'm not playing your game. Just give me the damn hot chocolate and I'm out the door. I'll pay you the money. We got easy. All right.
We call it chocolat.
Yeah. I'm not. Did you want any soy latte? No, I don't. Just
cocoa. That's so true. Starbucks, your menu
cinnamon
is
straight from Vietnam. That's great. I don't. Large hot chocolate.
This is from the milk of a goat that was once lifted into the Appalachian Mountains.
Oh, yeah. Appalachian Mountain goat milk. Gotcha. Yeah. Don't care. Large hot chocolate.
That's such a great one.
And God forbid you say something like, and can you put an ice cube in it? Because it comes out like 200 degrees. I've had friends of mine do that where they go through the drive-thru at Starbucks all the time.
Yeah.
And like, oh, I'm a grande. Uh-huh. And then, can I get an ice cube in that? And they're like, okay. And they it's like 6 ice cubes in there. They never get it. Like, just need one. Just one, and it'll gradually melt in like 30 seconds, and it'll calm it down by 25 degrees, and I can drink it now. And it's like a 5% chance that they're going to put just the one cube in it.
It's the question everybody, like, what the F is an Americano? What's an Americano? Is that a coffee?
Macchiato? What is that?
Yeah.
Michelangelo.
There's the mocha. There's the Americano. There's Americano. There's the macchiato.
Mariachi.
I don't know the difference. Do not know the difference.
No one's ever just ordered something normal there. Like, it's always something crazy with
Did
these.
you want
like,
the Italian roast blend, the French roast blend? Did you want the Sumatra? Did you want the... I don't know. Coffee. Black coffee. No. Straight up black coffee.
I'm going to Speedway.
Yeah, right?
Cup. Just the biggest cup you got.
Can I get a big gulp?
Yes, sir. I'm trying to determine if you wanted the Italian roast, the Colombian roast. I don't know. What's like normal? Normal? Bye. See ya. Speedway it is. Hey, 7-Eleven, there you are.
Oh, John,
thank God.
John and Lake Orion, you're so right. And the funny thing is, I'm sitting there and I'm like, I don't want to sound dumb in front of these people, but why do I care? Why? Can you explain to me what any of that means? I don't know what any of it means. The only one I get is latte. Like, that's a foamed milk coffee drink.
Yeah, how grande is not the largest size blows my mind.
Right?
It's not?
No.
Oh, was it Venti? Is that the one? God, I hate this. So this is probably the number one reason why I don't drink coffee. So I don't want to have to go into this.
You don't want to learn all this stuff because you don't speak Italian. That's
right.
I don't drink coffee.
I'm sorry. I don't speak barista. Yeah.
Ciao.
Andiamo.
Jay is in Warren and next year on 97.1 A Ticket. Hi, Jay.
Hey, guys. How are you?
We're
all
good.
Right, Jay.
So I'm 42 years old. I've been a sports fan my whole life. I've listened to sports talk radio every day since like 2000.
Yep.
It's pretty embarrassing. I don't know anything about basketball. Okay. I don't know what the difference between a forward and a point guard is. I don't know like the number of fouls or they're in the bonus. Like, what the hell does in the bonus mean?
It's like Price is Right.
It's embarrassing. I'm embarrassed. I'm a big sports fan.
Right. You know, I mean, I guess if you don't know the terms, like I was talking about the Starbucks menu, yeah, point guard and power forward might not make sense to you, but if it's
point guard, a guy usually dribbles the ball up the floor and leads the play. And
Isaiah Thomas was a point guard. Joe Dumars was a shooting guard. That's not the guy but he can slide over and be the point guard and did it.
Point guard's usually the guy that just dribbles the ball around.
Most of the dribbling, he'll walk it up the floor, run it up the floor. In the fast
break, I could have been proactive and like actually did some research and looked up these terms.
It's okay.
It's okay.
It's the same place. Safe place. Same thing with us with the Starbucks menu.
It's safe.
Yep,
it's safe
we can look it all up.
But the bonus thing cracks me up too because I've often
is it 4 per quarter? Puts you in the bonus 4 fouls per quarter in the NBA, and it's 7 in college basketball per half.
And a bonus just means that after that foul, Every time you're fouled after that, you get a free throw.
You're shooting free throws instead of just to have the ball inbound on the side, unless you're shooting.
Then you get the double bonus. If you get
10
to
fouls.
10, and then you get an automatic 2 free throws.
Here's one we need to be leery of here as talk show hosts. Got this from Scott. When you guys start talking about the salary cap, I space out. Yep. I get it.
Salary cap for the NFL.
Yep.
That is me. I don't get it. I try to get it. I think I got it. And just when I think I got it, nope, I don't got it.
Yep.
Then here comes Jared Goff's contract. You just screwed me all up. Like, what is this? Is this being applied to this? When Jared Goff signed his deal and he called into the show, which was awesome.
Yep.
And I said something to him about the contract. I'm like, did you have to like retake math classes and figure this out? And he's like, well, what don't you understand? I'm like, I don't know. Did they redo the contract and just throw it in the bonus into the extra year? And is this how? And now it's elongated for. I don't get. And he's like, he kind of blew it off. He's like, yeah, that's what happened. I'm still not convinced he knows. I know what he knows.
Of course,
is that he got
does.
the $70 million in a signing bonus, and at the day he signs that contract, it's worth $113 million on the first year.
Hence, why you have an attorney.
Exactly.
Yeah. We got a bunch more coming in, including some great ones, and one guy who does the exact same thing I do every time at the doctor's office. We will get to that at 11:46. Tiger baseball coming up next hour. The best of what A.J. Hinch told the morning show, including whether or not he sees progress with this team. That's in the noon hour, 97.1 The Ticket. NBA analyst with a great term that he dropped last night. We'll get to that today at 11:50. Here on Carson Anderson on 97.1 The Ticket. Tiger baseball stuff next hour. Maybe a little bit of NHL trade talk. Could this player make sense in Detroit? All that before Tiger baseball. In the meantime, look, it started with a funny tweet when the U.S., I think it's the U.S. under-20 cricket team was leading India, and somebody tweeted out a score, and somebody tweeted back at them, and the replies was, I don't know what the F this means. I tried to explain it, but nobody knows or cares, but whatever. And the point being, there's stuff that you look at and you have no idea what you're looking at. We started talking about batting average on balls in play. What's a player's BABIP? Well, he'll come back to earth because his BABIP is 390. Why? Never really understood it, but I've tried to. Meantime, Kang said it's the craft beer menu. When somebody puts a craft beer menu in front of him and he doesn't see Miller Lite or Bud Light and he's looking at IPA, triple IPA, New England IPA, lager, ale, wheat, And I hate to admit, I've said, what's the thing that's most like a Bud Light or Miller Lite? And the disgust in their answer is
the water fountain's over there, sir.
Yeah. Yep. I just
feel
like
shandy. Well, use that water fountain and squirt some lemon.
The belittling in their answer that comes in, no matter how polite they're trying to be, I could just feel myself being belittled. Nonetheless, we've asked for people, what are things you don't understand and you just kind of fake it, and this is a safe place to admit it. Colin writes in the following, not related to sports, but every time at the doctor and he tells me what my blood pressure is, I have to ask, is that good? I have no idea what any of those numbers mean. Bingo.
Come on, it's just systolic and diastolic. You don't. Yeah, I know the good range.
I keep trying to figure out what they're looking at because I'll look at that little pressure meter and I'll watch it. And you'll pump the thing up. And thump, 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 thump. And then I watch every once in a while. You could see the heartbeat, and it beats like 7 times. And then they'll go, "Yep, 110/60," and I'll be like, "What? How did you get that out of what I just saw?"
Might as well be a cricket score.
Might as well.
I feel like that's something I'd like to ask next time I go for a physical. Is okay. Can you just explain to me how it is by squeezing my arm to an uncomfortable level at times,
right,
with a stethoscope, that you're able to determine what my blood pressure is?
Mm-hmm.
And why does it change based on you taking it or this person taking it? Because every time I go, you'll have a nurse comes in, she takes it, gives me a reading, and then she leaves. And then the doctor comes in and goes, all right, let me check on it. Well, she just took it. Yeah, again, I want to do it myself. I'm like, okay. And like 2 totally different numbers. And like by a pretty decent margin. I'm like, why is that? He goes, it just happens.
Joe in Toledo, after the grandkids leave and change everything, I can't get into my television to watch a normal channel. So do they start streaming?
Probably.
Now you got to change the input. That's a challenge. Well, it can be a challenge. I've figured it out, but must be some sort of.
It's HDM 13.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's HDMI 3. What does that mean? I don't know. Means it's another input. Try the other one.
Chad in Midland says, guys, I can't figure out how to keep bowling scores to save my life. Because of the strike and the spare thing. And
I understand that. Yeah, that can be tough.
Got a spare, and now you got to wait for the next ball to be rolled, but there's 4 other people that got to go between this shot and your next shot.
But he only has 6. There's like 2 open frames. No.
You got 0 for that strike.
I had a strike. Where's my 10 points? You'll get in a second. Trust me. Thank God for the automatic scoring.
10 points. Where's my 10 points?
Where's my 10 points?
Chris in White Lake says, cryptocurrency. What is Bitcoin?
All right, don't start.
What does it do? I have no clue. Here's what it is.
What's a blockchain?
You give them money, and they take your money. That's what Bitcoin is. My blood pressure is like a cricket score. It just beat Sri Lanka. 248-539-9797. Let's go to Kevin. You're next. Hi, Kevin.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
What's up?
So I'm up visiting from Florida, just catching your guys' show, and wanted to explain to you how the blood pressure cuff works.
Yeah. Okay.
So when they start to pump the pressure so high that the blood can't push through it, they start to release pressure. And the first beats that you hear is the pressure that the blood can pass through. And when they stop seeing the pulses of blood, the pressure is so low on the cuff that it doesn't push the blood anymore. So that's the top and bottom numbers.
I think I understand.
So the first number is the first time that your blood
has enough force to push through.
And then the last number is the last time that it even registers.
Correct.
So if your blood pressure's high, it pushes through higher.
At a higher pressure.
Okay.
At a higher force.
Gotcha. And okay, safe place, right?
Safe place.
Yeah. Why do we care what our, is it dangerous to, I know you don't want to have high blood pressure, but why? But why?
Well, it changes a lot depending on sometimes body position or stress you're under. But if the heart has to pump so hard because has to create enough pressure to go through, it overtaxes the heart.
Okay. So you don't want to overwork your heart when you're resting.
Correct.
Okay. All right. I guess that makes sense. Thank you, Kevin. What is batting average on balls in play?
Mine, from 8th grade, probably 50.
50.
Thank you. All right, so last night, NBA Finals, something happened, and Kang explained, Kang, you heard it, and you're like, this is a great term. I don't want to take, it was your observation, and you're right. So you go ahead and explain to the people what it was.
No, yesterday I'm watching the Mavs and the Celtics in the NBA Finals, and it was during the first half, and Kyrie Irving takes the ball to the hole, does some really cool move or whatever, scores the basket. He's really good at finishing, right?
Yep. Let me pause you right there, because I feel like what the analyst said next was speaking directly to Kang.
Then JJ Redick, who's one of the analysts on the game last night, goes, Kyrie Irving is an ethical scorer. That's what he said.
Yeah.
And then he follows it up with, there's no foul hunting, there's no flopping, there's no complaining. He's a straight bucket getter. And Doris Burke, his partner, who's been doing a million games, right?
Yeah.
Said, I'm glad you explained it. I didn't know what you meant by ethical scorer. And I felt like JJ Redick was talking to my heart. Okay? Because that's, I told you guys this, of course, before. Like, Luka Doncic, unbelievable player, probably going to win an MVP at some point. Unethical scorer. He foul hunts so much and complains so much. And I know it's part of the game, people, but I'm just saying, for me, for my viewing pleasure, it's not enjoyable, okay? And Kyrie Irving was doing the opposite, which he just finds a way to score. He's not looking for a foul or whatever. He's just looking to score the basket.
Trae Young.
Trae Young is an unethical scorer.
Yeah, James Harden, whoever, right?
Joe Dumars.
Joe Dumars was an ethical scorer. Yeah, he was an ethical scorer.
So when JJ Redick said he's an ethical scorer and he explained why, it's like, that's a great term.
I love it.
Never heard it before.
No, I'm with you. I like the term. I like the term a lot. And I completely agree with it. Now, is JJ Redick, did I read today he's going to interview with the Lakers now?
Yes.
Yeah, apparently he's a front runner.
I don't know that it's directly related to his comments last night, but maybe. Because if he becomes a coach, I wonder how he's going to feel about the foul hunter on his roster.
The flopper on his roster.
I mean, is LeBron flop ever?
What?
Is LeBron known to flop?
No.
Just saying. Could that be an issue for him? Will he want to move on from LeBron?
No, I think LeBron's the one who's getting him the job. They do this podcast, and so I'm assuming he doesn't think LeBron is a unethical scorer, right?
Yeah. Great term, though. Great term. And by the way, I read a headline about how Luka was complaining about the officiating after the game last night. And I'm like, of course he was.
Yeah.
It's funny. I mean, they had to, his sixth foul, they had to challenge it.
Yeah,
like,
it was worth the challenge.
There's no way this should get overturned. If this gets overturned, it will be the NBA saying, and an NBA official, I don't think it's a conspiracy. I just think it'd be like, all right, we got to keep Luka in the game. The league, everybody wants Luka to stay in this game, but because there was no way that wasn't a foul.
We get some help. Anybody give us help?
No.
The game was crazy. I mean, Dallas got off to a hot start. They had this big lead, and then they lost the lead. And then you get to the late third quarter into the fourth quarter, and Boston builds up a 21-point lead.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, it's done. And with within like 2 minutes, they'd cut the lead to 11. And then a few minutes later, now it's a 2-point game, 3-point game. Crazy.
Yep.
But that's I feel like that's all Dallas had.
It's funny because I wanted Dallas to make it interesting, but I also wanted Dallas to come back and win without Luka once he fouled out. And it was like 5 minutes left in the game when he fouled out. I wanted him to foul out without and then come back and win without him. Because I do hate foul hunters. Can't stand them.
Whiner.
Yep. 248-539-9797. Okay, next hour, an update on Joey Chestnut. We've got a possibility for a Red Wing trade. AJ Hinch, the best of what he told the morning show, including what determines when Spencer Torkelson gets recalled. All that in the noon hour leading into Tiger Baseball here on 97.1 The Ticket. Yesterday we made a bet. I think this whole Joey Chestnut Major League eating kerfuffle is part of a grander conspiracy to bring interest back in Nathan's hot dog eating contest. Joey's lost his fastball. Kobayashi hasn't been in it for years. Still nobody stepping up to challenge Joey Chestnut. And so I wasn't buying the whole idea that Joey Chestnut would not compete at Nathan's, but we also predicted that, the idea that this has been the most eventful offseason in Major League eating that we can ever remember, with Kobayashi announcing his retirement. Sure, it's a retirement, Kobayashi. And Joey Chestnut getting banned from the Nathan's contest. It feels like they're setting up for the greatest event in competitive eating, Chestnut versus Kobayashi. We talked about when it would be. We talked about where it would be, and we're right about all those things. But you and I differed on one thing, and that was whether or not Joey Chestnut would compete in the Nathan's hot dog eating contest. I still believe that he will, even though it's been announced that Kobayashi and Joey Chestnut will meet on Netflix on Labor Day. But in an independent one-on-one showdown, whether they still, what is it called? We have beef to settle or something?
Something like that, yeah.
Settle the beef. I don't know what it, but anyway, the point is,
it's hard to do if you're having plant-based dogs.
So you and I made a bet over, would Joey Chestnut compete in the Nathan's hot dog eating contest? I predicted that he would. You said that he wouldn't. And if I win the bet, you have to eat a Impossible Dog on the air live. And if you win the bet, I have to eat an actual hot dog on the air live. Neither of us are looking forward to losing said bet. But I'm not worried yet, because I think Nathan's is going to bend and buy Chestnut to be there on the 4th of July, because they see potential complete irrelevance with Kobayashi and Chestnut facing off in the fall. So I still have confidence that I'll win this bet.
Yeah, I think if you have confidence, that's great, but it's probably really low.
Dude in the straw hat isn't going to let this go without a fight. Oh. He can see it. He can see that nobody's going to watch his event. And so they're going to get Chestnut back.
Next year.
Called, a shot still called.
Yeah, he'll get him back next year.
In the meantime, in this whole thing, did Kobayashi win out? He left Major League Eating, and after years, suddenly Joey Chestnut follows him?
I don't know. I mean, he was retired and now he's back in. Like, he retired for health reasons. We had that story a couple months ago.
I don't believe it. I don't believe that he retired for health reasons. I think it was just he wanted to. It's all part of a ruse. He brought attention to himself, and now is his glorious return.
In the year 2000, Kazutoyo Arai won the hot dog eating contest, knocking down 25 and an eighth. I don't know how you determine an eighth of a hot dog, but that's what he did in the 12 minutes. Mm-hmm. The next year in 2001, Kobayashi came on the scene and doubled the total. He threw down 50 hot dogs in the 12 minutes. And that started the whole new thing, because he had this whole different kind of, production with it and technique and dipping the dogs in the water and the buns in the water and all that disgusting stuff. And he went on a tear and, won like 6 in a row. And his highest total going into when the Chestnut era was 53 3/4. The next year, Joey Chestnut comes into 2007.
Mm-hmm.
Chestnut finished second in that previous year when he had 52 hot dogs, lost by a dog and 3/4. This time he had 66 in the first year that he won it. They had to have an eat-off the next year. We're at 59. They had to have the eat-off. And Chestnut prevailed.
Mm-hmm.
And then he went on a just ridiculous tear, right? 68, 54, 62, 68, 69, 61. And then who? Matt Stoney. Anybody remember the name Matt Stoney?
Kind of now that you mention it.
Matt Stoney was the one in 2015 that upset Joey Chestnut. Stoney threw down 62 hot dogs, ending the 8-year winning streak of Joey Chestnut, who had 60. And then Chestnut said enough is enough. The next year he threw down 70. Matt Stoney had 53. So when you say you lose your fastball, because the last year that Chestnut one was last year and he had 62, the year prior to that he had 63, keep in mind that those totals are still better than anybody's totals in the history of the event not named Joey Chestnut.
But he's not going to break his record. So how do they create?
I doubt he's going to do more than 76.
Yeah, how do you create interest? You do this whole faux banning and fake retirement. Anyway, we'll see how it plays itself out. One of us is eating something we don't want to eat on the air live. So something came up today that has been brewing for a while, and there's new information this morning. And it might be the deal that the Red Wings are looking for. Patrick Laine wants out of Columbus, according to Pierre LeBrun. This is an incredibly talented player that's got 40 goal skills that has had hiccups in his career. And he opened up about his mental health and went into the league's assistance program. And I don't think he played a game after December this year. But he was a guy.
His last game was December 14th.
Is he 20? Is he 25? Do you have his numbers?
26.
26. And how many games did he play last year?
He played 18 games last year.
And scored
6 goals, 3 assists.
But he's not a full season guy, right? If you look at, do you have his?
Yeah, I have his stats in front of me. No, last year, the year prior to that, he had 55 games, 52 points in 55 games. The year before that, 56 points in 56 games. The year before that, he had 24 points in 46 games. He started the year with Winnipeg and then moved to Columbus. The year before that, the 1920 season, which is a COVID year.
2019-2020.
Yes.
Yep.
That's the COVID year.
Yep.
68 games, he had 63 points. The first 3 years in his career, he played 73, 82, and 82 games, but has not played a full season or anywhere near a full season since 2019.
So a couple things about this. One is he is a point-a-game guy. He could be, if a full season, he could get to 40 goals.
Yeah.
But he hasn't played a full season. Has he ever played a full season?
Twice.
And he's
second and third year in the league.
He's owed $8.7 million for the next 2 years per year. That is a massive contract. But if he wants a trade, and he seems to be a bit overpriced, and there's questions about, look, a player enters a very sensitive situation into the player assistant program. You want to be sensitive to that, but you also have to decide, is this a business deal worth making? He's from Finland. The Red Wings, I believe, have 2 Finnish players. I don't know how many they have coming up, but Olli Mata and Ville Husso. I don't know if that helps or hurts, if they has any previous relationship with those guys. Is a change of scenery to a place like Detroit something that helps? He's got a 10-team no-trade clause. I don't know who's on that trade clause. But I almost feel like the purgatory that the Red Wings are in, sometimes you got to take a chance, and this might be a chance worth taking.
Yeah, I wouldn't, because I don't think he fits the type of player they're looking for or that they want to add to this team. Either going to add a guy who's just a pure goal scorer, or you're going to add somebody who has a little bit of scoring touch and has toughness. Somebody who's a bigger player and somebody who hits and throws his weight around. And he's neither of those. He did have a 40-goal season. He scored 44 goals in his second year in the league. But since then, his highest total was 30, which was the following year. And
in how many games?
He had 44 in 82 games, then had 30 in 82 games, and then had 28 in 68.
Okay.
So he's... And as we mentioned, he's missed a lot of time over the last 5 seasons or so. You start thinking, what's it going to? Okay, if you're going to tell me it's not going to cost you much in terms of players and prospects you give back or a draft pick, whatever, I'm open to it. I'm open to the discussion. I just don't think that this is the type of player that they want.
I don't think it's the ideal player, but I think you have also, as far as veterans you can acquire, you only can go after what's available.
Okay, So then tell me this: would you rather pay him $8.2 a year or whatever it is for the next 2 years and give up assets? Or would you rather pay Patrick Kane 2 years and $10 million total?
Well, they can do both
Or
under the
12
cap.
million.
They can do both under the cap, but I don't know. That's a good question. I have to give it some thought because I see Patrick Kane as kind of a similar player, and he would cost less, and you wouldn't have to give up assets. Well, he's not. Patrick Kane isn't a player that's tough and that goes.
No, but Patrick Kane's a guy. He is legitimate point a game guy and showed last
What's not
year.
legitimate about Laney?
Well, because he has 388 career points in 480 games.
Well, but if you look at his last few seasons, 56 points in 56 games, 52 points in 55 games. There was the bad year he had in 2021, although that was split over two teams, 63 and 68. And those are the closest to his full seasons when he's played the most games. I mean, look, I think it comes with a risk, and I agree with you. I wonder if you could get him a little bit cheaper because they're just trying to unload the contract. He wants out. But you have to have the best offer. You don't have to have, you can offer something cheap. If it's the best offer, they may take it. Because there's a little bit of element of get out from under the salary with this too for Columbus.
Sure. And that's another part of it. I mean, would any team that's making a trade for Laine, would they insist that Columbus has to pay a certain portion of the salary because it's too much that they'd want to take on?
They might.
I'm just saying, if I had to choose, fork to my nose in a dark alley, Patrick Kane or Patrick Laine, I'd go Patrick Kane.
How old is Patrick Kane going to be next year?
36, 35. I'm not sure.
That's why I'd take Laine, because he's 26. But 248-539-9797. It's interesting. We'll see. I mean, Steve Yzerman at some point has to give it a little bit of gas, and the question is when and who. 248-539-9797. Hey, it's summertime in Detroit, and that means our baseball team's in full swing. Pick up your favorite Stoli vodka flavor and pair it with a refreshing lemonade to enjoy while you watch. Make it a summer of Stoli and celebrate with a Stoli blueberry and lemonade, or maybe make it a Stoli vanilla espresso martini. No matter what your drink of choice is, remember Stoli for your premium vodka, whether it's at the game or your backyard patio rooting for your favorite player to hit a bomb. Stoli's got you covered. Pick up a bottle of Stoli vodka today, and as always, Stoli asks that you please drink responsibly. Doug Carr, Scott Anderson, 97.1 The Ticket. Hope you're doing great on this Thursday. Tiger baseball coming up this afternoon. And we've got some Tiger stuff to get to right now, including A.J. Hinch on the morning show. Now, we like to listen to the interviews and pull the stuff that we think is most interesting and replay it for you. They've won one of their last 6. They've struggled lately. When they need a win streak, they find a losing streak. They get to 500, then they take steps backwards. And the question was asked, how do they get on that win streak? What's holding you back from that win streak to kind of define yourself as more of a contender for the wild card? Here's what A.J. Hinch had to say. So, all right, we got a little long there. Anyway,
I'd love for them to run more.
His explanation was we just don't have the guys to do it. But the thing about the we were close and the ifs, that was filled with a lot of ifs, and I love AJ. And I found myself doing this too, where you go, if they had just kicked that field goal, or if they had just done that, but you don't say the ifs for the other team. Like if we had just gotten that stop, or if they, because everybody's got ifs. When you win a close game, the other team's day is filled, like the recap is filled with if we had only done this. And when you lose a close game, everybody does it. And so you're trying to add on should have won wins and why you're better than you are. But you don't subtract the ones that you, quote, should have lost, where the other team, if they had executed, you would have lost. So baseball's so weird in that the season is so long, and any single game, anything can happen. You can have that game where you can't get out, and you score 16 runs in the first 2 innings, and the game's over, and the other team drains the bullpen and puts a guy in there that there's just supposed to be an innings eater, and you light him up 2, and you win 24-2. And then the next day you get shut out and have 3 hits. It's so weird. The variance in offensive production. I don't know if it's like that with any other sport.
It probably isn't. But the other thing is that I think the way that this team is constructed with their lineup, they're just incapable of going on a run. Because they don't have enough good players. Mm-hmm. They have a lot of mediocre players and maybe a couple players that have a chance to be better than that. I like what I've seen from Vierling, but I question is this what Matt Vierling is, or is this just a hot 3 weeks that he's on? I like Riley Green. But beyond that, it's like, what do they have? Mark Canha is a free agent at the end of the year. I think he's definitely a trade piece, but what's his trade value now? He hit 212 in the month of May, and he's hitting 182 so far in June. His OPS in May is 570, and it's 502 in June. I mean, he's taken a swan dive since the hot start, and that's one of the guys that you're counting on. And they just don't have those guys because they counted on players to take a step forward that didn't do it. Whether it was Torkelson or Meadows, they haven't done it. Guys they've given opportunities to. It's not really much of an opportunity for Akil Baddoo. He's getting spot duty, not really hitting it here. Wencel Perez is off to a nice start, but is he simply what Akil Baddoo was a couple of years ago? They only have, I think it's 4 guys on the team that play every day right now that are on the team that have a better than average OPS. And one of them is Mark Canha, who's at 720. But that OPS has plummeted over the last 6 weeks, as I detailed with what he's done in May and June. So it's Perez, who's a small sample size, only 47 games, Matt Vierling through 60 games, and Riley Green through 66. Without Kerry Carpenter, they just don't have that everyday bat that you can really count on.
We're literally looking at a team, like we can get into the minutia, but the truth is they just don't have enough good players.
No,
it's not that complicated, right?
And it's frustrating, but I'm kind of resigned to that. So you're waiting for, okay, who's the next guy to come up? When they're going to get their chances? And, when do you let them ripen too much down in Toledo, or is it not enough? When do you go back to Torque and Meadows and say, come on up? And, I think the trade deadline is going to be an interesting day because everybody's looking at the pitching and, the talk of school. Neither one of us wants to move him. But Flaherty is a guy that he's supposed to return to the rotation this weekend. Hopefully he's fine. But they have to trade him because they need to get players on this team, major league ready players, guys that are doing something for another team, but maybe that they're just, sort of blocked with being more productive than they need to be. And you got to give something to get something. The Tigers need to get something in return for Flaherty. And then you'll have your own free agents at the end of the year beyond Flaherty, like a Canha and like Urshela, that you have to consider moving as well. And once you get past the trade deadline, then you can say, Chase Young, come on up. Torkelson, you're back. And here goes Parker Meadows. And maybe you got a tough decision to make with some of the other guys that are already on this roster.
Well, let's get to Torque. Here's what he had to say about when do they determine Torque has done enough at AAA to call him back. Well, Torque went 2 for 5 yesterday, and Torque is hitting .344 with a .436 on base. Sounds to me like they're looking at the hard hit rate and the barrel rate more than they're looking at the results of when the ball's put in play.
Yeah, they want him to get his swing back and start hitting the ball, and he has. He's hit it for, I think he's got 7 RBIs in 7 games, whatever it is. He's been down there. He's been an RBI a game guy. It's nice to see. Get the confidence back, but continue to do it. I don't think this is going to be a quick recall. If it was a quick recall, I'd be back, and I don't think that's in the cards. Now, how quick it is, we'll see.
248-539-9797. All right, does he see progress? And Costa kind of challenged him on whether or not he saw progress, what he sees as progress. We'll get to that today at 12:32 here on Carson Anderson on 97.1 The Ticket. Hey, congrats to all the Michigan Wolverines drafted in the NFL for 2024. The University of Michigan Credit Union is cheering you on loud and proud. UMCU is a proud partner of Michigan Athletics and the official credit union of your Detroit Lions. One might say they're the leaders and best in financial services. I just suited up with UMCU, and you can too. No matter where you hail from, You're eligible to join, and signing up is easy, and you can score one of the cooler debit cards they have out there. There's the Block M, the winged helmet, the Lions debit card with the logo. And with your UMCU debit card, your call plays at millions of stores, hotels, and restaurants worldwide. Need some cash in your pockets? Hit up thousands of surcharge-free ATMs conveniently spread across Michigan and beyond. Open your account today. It took me less than 10 minutes. Go to umcu.org and get in the game. But hey, while you're there, check out their resources for convenient student, auto, and home loans. University of Michigan Credit Union, proudly repping your official Block M debit card. Win with UMCU.
Here's some good news.
I like good news.
Reading this from the Fox 2 website. Thanks to a $6.7 million restoration project that helped repair the dormant fountain after nearly a decade of not operating, the proverbial switch will be flipped back on Thursday. This is the fountain at Hart Plaza.
Oh, cool.
It hasn't been turned on in years.
All right.
So today happens to be Thursday. So at some point today.
Oh, that's great.
That's really cool.
I like it. 248-539-97. We talking about the A.J. Hinch conversation with the morning show. Let's get to your phone calls. Open lines. Mitch is next. Hi, Mitch.
Hey, Doug. Hey, Gator.
Hey, Mitch.
Yeah. Sorry about that. I'm just smashing a chocolate frosty from Wendy's right now. Where are they on your list? The other day.
They were at 12.
I don't remember.
Yeah,
they
were outside the top 10, if I'm not mistaken.
I think they were 12.
Crazy.
Huh. Underrated. So I'm just calling about. I'd have to disagree with you here, Doug. I'm kind of more with Gator on, Mr. Patrick Laine. His game, I'm just not a fan of it. Like, like, have you ever watched him play, Doug? Like, have you ever watched Laine play?
Of course.
I don't know if you watch a lot of, Jacket hockey or not, but
I have to admit, I watched him a lot when he was in Winnipeg.
yeah, he's a big guy, right? So like a guy with his size, you would think would be able to leverage his body more, like similar to. I know it's not good to compare it to like Austin Matthews because he's like the top, but he doesn't leverage his. Right. Yeah. So he doesn't leverage his body like he should. He likes to fish with his stick a lot, and he's kind of like stuck in the mud. He almost plays like kind of sluggish, where he kind of leaves behind like a slime trail when he plays. He likes to force the play a lot. His lack of awareness has him kind of running into his own teammates at times. I just don't think he's a guy for the Wings. Now, he does have some pros, and who knows if a change over to the Wings could help him kind of get to where he was like 6 or 7 years ago, I think, when he scored 40. But, I mean, his shot's a bomb. He can maybe play in a power play. I don't know if there's room there.
He's not a perfect player. I mean, nobody would argue that he is.
It comes down to a price.
And it comes down to accessibility. Like, there are better players that you'd rather have, but you also have to look at who's accessible. But sure, if you don't want him, hope they don't go after him. We do have breaking news. Is it Terrion Arnold has signed his contract? Is that correct? Is that what just broke? I missed it.
Yes, Terrion Arnold is now signed according to the Lions themselves on Twitter, and that's I believe that's all the draft picks are signed for the Lions now.
And I believe Terrion Arnold is also throwing out the first pitch today at Comerica Park. So
nice.
Newly minted contract, and they put him right on the hill. He's getting the start today. Oh, no, he's just throwing out the first pitch.
Sub-Zero?
Yes, Sub-Zero. Great nickname. We're running short on time. Let's get to this. This was the exchange this morning when Jim Costa said, hey, look, we don't see progress. Is there any? Here's what A.J. Hinch had to say and Jim's follow-up. I love that line. Welcome to breaking in a young player that doesn't go perfectly. There are going to be prospects that don't pan out. And the only problem I have with Colt Keith is whether or not Colt Keith would be better served by getting AAA at bats and sorting some things out. I don't know the answer to that question. That's up to the organization to decide. They put Torque down there. Torque's Torque's numbers are there, but they're not looking at the numbers. They're looking at basically hard hit and barrel rate. Is he got his swing back, his timing back? But we've seen a lot of young guys get opportunities and it doesn't go perfectly. And that can be a sign that they're never going to be a player at this level, or it might take patience. We have the incredible example of Max Scherzer years ago who got sent down and got it all sorted out, but that's way the exception and not the rule.
Right. And Colt Keith only played 67 games at AAA, and it was last year, and he hit 287 with an 890 OPS. He did just fine there. I mean, he had 13 homers and 20 doubles. I mean, he was crushing it, and they took a chance on him. They gave him they signed him to a contract and said, we don't want you looking over your shoulder. You're going to play just about every day here in Detroit. And he has. And you can't ignore the month of May because it was spectacular for him. He hit 342 in the month of May. He had 6 multi-hit games in the month of May. His OPS was 881 for the month of May. At the same time, though, and that was Jim's point, you can't overlook the fact that he got off to a horrible start in April, and then in June he's 2 for 27. But because he's a young player, because you saw a full month where he was good, you're going to keep giving him the opportunities. And I think he needs those opportunities at this level because basically in the minor leagues, he did what he could do. So he's the only way you're going to get better at Major League pitching is to face Major League pitching. I believe that. And I'm fine with him struggling right now. I'll have a problem if we get to September and he continues to struggle. I mean, you got to see a chance for him to get back at it. But, I mean, they showed a stat last night when they showed the opening lineups, and it was, I think it was OPS or slugging percentage against breaking pitches, and it was horrible. It was like in the 100s. So got to learn to hit a breaking ball, I guess.
Yeah, there's a ways to go. And look, everybody, when you're rebuilding, part of it is seeing the young guys, and the young guys do have their share of struggles. This is part of it, unless you got a roster full of, Mike Trouts, which they don't. They just don't have enough talent.
That'd be a school.
It would be a school. You're right. Well done, Gator.
Thank you.
Tiger baseball coming up next here. It is Patrick Corbin, who's 1-7 with a 6.15 ERA for the Nationals, going against the Tigers' Casey Mize. That is next. We'll talk to you tomorrow here on 97.1.